Hello, folks, and welcome tonight. We are at Auto Club here. 3 Wide TV is going to bring you 100% Cup Series. We have 400 miles, 200 laps here at Auto Club. So in the booth, it's me, Josh, right here, the backup commentator, not the full-time commentator, but we got Andre over here who needs a vacation. It says. How are you feeling tonight, Andre?
About as good as I can for the amount of sleep I got over the last couple of days. But you know what? It doesn't matter because I am excited for tonight's race. We are here at Auto Club, and after the drivers qualified and got their practice laps in, there was one thing I kept hearing, Josh, and it was how hot the track is. So we're going to have a little bit of slip and slide action, I think, tonight here at Auto Club.
We see a driver just slamming the wall right there as you were talking about it. Yeah, it looks like here at these Auto Club, the track is very multi-lane, multi-groove. That's what I like about Auto Club on iRacing. You can get very big restarts, very very multi-lane racing. It's very weird how in real life you might not see it as much, but on iRacing these guys utilize every groove here, and it's going to be fun tonight, I feel like.
Absolutely, and I know a lot of these drivers spend a lot of time working on their setups for tonight because Auto Club is one of those tracks that, because it's so multi-groove, there's a lot of time to gain, and you don't always know where that time is. Maybe you can make the car a little bit quicker around the bottom, or maybe even faster around the top, but the two corners are, well, I guess 4 corners, but the two ends of the track are very different. And my buddy Cam, who's racing tonight in the number 57 car, told me that every time he made a setup better in one end of the track, it was worse at the other, almost like Darlington. So I think a lot of these drivers kind of throwing the wrench at these cars, and it's going to produce some interesting results tonight.
Yeah, and it's going to be awesome because when you definitely see these drivers driving their different lines and not all running that same line, like you see at tracks like Charlotte or other tracks on the schedule that we'll be running. It's awesome to see everybody have their own way around the track. And like you said, one end of the track, one guy might be faster than the other, and on the other end he's going to be completely slower on his setup. So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys worked it out this week. I know they had a lot of time in their practice, a lot of time to work on these setups, so it's going to be interesting to see how they got these hot rods tuned up for Auto Club tonight.
Absolutely, and of course, as the session goes on, the track's going to change. We're going to see some changes in track temp, wind direction, all that fun stuff. So even if they think they got it figured out at the beginning, they're going to have a lot to adapt to as time goes on. But the practice session is about to come to a close, and in the next 10 seconds, we're going to get to gridding. And luckily, Josh, I think we're going to be able to get through our starting grid this week. The administrators have agreed to give us an extra pace lap so that we can actually read off this starting grid. And when they do get gridding, I'll go ahead and let you take the first 10, Josh, then we'll trade it off from there. And I think it should work out just well. And that's a first, Josh. I know I'm making a big deal out of this, but I can't tell you how much trouble we've had with these starting grids in the past. So we're going to get through that pretty quickly and then right to the action here at Auto Club.
Yeah, as we are starting to grid up here, drivers might take a couple seconds. The drivers do have a couple minutes here to grid up, so some of them taking their last drink of water, some of them getting the gloves on, getting ready to go here. You see a bunch of cars already starting to spawn in, so we're going to go ahead and go through our top 10, not our top 10, our whole grid, as we have P1, John Delaney. He qualified with a 39.436, and in P2 we have Bryson Hixenbaugh. And in P3, we're going to have Preston McRae. P4 is going to be Adam Benefield. P5 and P6, we're going to have Cameron Stone and Brian Bramham. And in P7 and P8, we're going to have last week's Daytona 500 winner Kevin Still and Bryce Hoffman. P9 and P10, we're going to have Dustin Hall and Mason Lowry. And Andre, do you want to go ahead and take it away from there?
All right. So from behind them, you're going to go ahead and you're going to have Tim Rail in that number 17 machine, Maris Hickenbottom behind him, Matthew Gaskins, Brandon Pierce, Dan Fields, Chad Edwards, Cody Bird rounded out at 18, Ryan McDaniel, Wayne Grassy, and from beyond 20th, I'll hand it to you.
All right, and from the 20th back, we have RJ Root, Ryan Samuelson, Dalton Mobley, and John Pillion. He's going to round off the field for us tonight. So not as big as a field as we saw at the 500.
Seems like we didn't need all that extra time after all, Josh. We the one time we get through it is the one time that we were given the extra lap. So I guess we're going to figure it out. But I think a good talking point right now, Josh, is the pole sitter, John Delaney. This is a driver that I said at Daytona, I think we've all seen a lot of growth out of. He has really changed his driving style over time, and he's just gotten better and better. It seems like every single week, and now he's finally starting up front at a 2-mile track. So everybody kind of looks at Delaney, and they see him as sort of a road course and plate track specialist. You know, when it comes to the 1.5s, the names that pop in your mind: Bryson Hixenbaugh, Cameron Stone, Kevin Steele, even the driver of that 83 machine, Adam Benefiel. But now it seems like John Delaney kind of has something to prove, and prove it he did with that pole spot.
Yeah, last week we saw a lot of different people that you were telling me was going to be up in the front. They were kind of hanging out in the back, and some of the people we weren't expecting, they were making their way up to the front. So it seems like the field is definitely hungry this year as we come into the second race of the year. These guys, like you said, have a lot of proof. Have a lot to prove, excuse me. But I'm excited to see how this Auto Club initial start is here. It's going to be awesome. These guys are about to go multi-lane racing right here in the turn one. It's going to produce some awesome racing.
Absolutely. And these starts are going to be, starts and restarts are going to be a bit of a challenge, I think, for these drivers here, because with as hot as this track is, I think it's going to be really easy to accidentally get on the throttle too hard, spin your tires. And if that happens, you could bottleneck the entire line that you're in. So you're going to have to be careful of that for sure. And of course, Auto Club is a pretty bumpy track, and until you get up to speed, it can really feel like your car is just kind of driving on ice, floating around, and when you hit those bumps, it wants to throw you every which way direction. So they're going to have to be cautious of that. But this front row, man, I think it's going to be interesting to see, because we all know Bryson Hixenbaugh is kind of known for getting really good jumps on the starts and restarts, but he's not the control car. That privilege goes to Jonathan Delaney and that neon green number 9, and so Hixenbaugh kind of has no choice but to hold back and wait and see what Delaney does. And if he can stay neck and neck with him into turn 1, it's going to be interesting to see what he can do from that high side.
Yeah, what's interesting is I've caught a couple of races here at Auto Club, and it always seems that inside lane seems to get the advantage on the restarts towards the beginning of the race, but towards the end, that outside lane starts to pick it up if they got the grip to. If it's on older tires, that outside lane usually never picks it up. I'm going to be interested to see how this outside lane does handle here, faring as we come to the green flag.
And there it goes. The virtual flagman is waving the green flag, and it was a great start from the outside. Bryson Hixenbaugh able to stay door-to-door with Jonathan Delaney, even getting a little bit of a run. Somehow he's got more momentum. Of course, going into turn 1, it's going to be the 9 with the shortest route around this corner, down on the bottom, hugging that white line. And now behind Bryson Hixenbaugh, you've got Adam Benefiel in that 83 machine for Team Conti. He got a fantastic start, and he's going to use this slipstream all the way down the backstretch, which actually is going to leave the 9 out to dry on the bottom.
Yeah, the 83 had a big run out of turn 1, just a massive run out of 2 and into the backstretch. As you see it starting to fall off that 63 now, Bryson Hixenbaugh is making that outside lane starting to work. It looks like the 9's going to stick his nose back under here. Nope, it looks like the 63 will clear him. So Bryson Hixenbaugh is going to lead lap 1 here at Auto Club, but Jonathan Delaney not far behind him, and like you said, Adam Benefiel in that Conti Motorsports car with a fantastic start. He's up to P3 now, so see how these guys want to settle it out here. Are they going to single file, or are they going to keep racing?
I think they're going to keep racing for sure. And when the 63 got clear of Delaney, when Hixenbaugh got clear of him, he got really loose in the middle of the corner. It seemed like he was really trying to put a lot of steering input into that car to try and make sure that he kept that midline and didn't push up. And it kind of bit him. He got a little bit loose, and it doesn't seem like much, but that adds up. The more you slide those tires, the warmer they get. The warmer they get, the less grip they have, and the quicker they fall off. So while you can afford to do that every now and again, you want to keep it to a minimum and try to preserve your equipment, which I think is going to be absolutely key here. And we got quite a bit of fog on the track, it looks like, Josh.
Yeah, we do. And as we were focusing on the back of the pack there, Adam Benefiel actually did clear Jonathan Delaney for that P2 spot coming into P3 the last lap. Just slid right up under him. It was an easy little pass for him, and got clear of him. So now he's making a little bit of a run from that P3 position. 83 of Adam Benefiel is looks like he's on a mission now.
Absolutely. As we ride on board on that roll cage cam for Adam Benefiel in that 83 Team Conti car, I think he's going to be able to close in on Hixenbaugh. Everybody knows that Hixenbaugh is really the class of the field here. He is an incredibly talented driver, 15 wins last season, but Adam Benefiel is one heck of a driver himself. He's a previous Coke Series driver. He has an incredibly high I rating, an I rating that I couldn't even dream of. And he has shown himself to be incredibly fast. He has passed Bryson in the past like he was just standing still at, I believe it was Richmond, where they really went neck and neck. The thing that's really held Adam Minifield back, especially throughout the start of this season and the preseason races that we had to get ready for this year, was a lot of bad luck. He got caught up in a lot of wrecks and accidents that weren't his fault, and that I really don't think he could have avoided no matter what. I mean, they just happened right in front of him, nowhere to go. And so hopefully he's going to turn that luck around tonight and have a good run.
Yeah, and you were talking about bad luck. Last week he was on a massive run at Daytona. Remember, he lead a couple laps, I think, at Daytona last week in the 500, and then ended up getting taken out in a late race incident. So we know he's got a fast race car on the super speedways, and like you said, making passes on Richmond's not an easy thing to do. So if he can carve him up there, I'm pretty sure he's gonna. If he can get up here to the 63 of Bryson Hixenbaugh, I'm pretty sure he's gonna show his cards at what that setup's made of.
For sure. And speaking of Team Conti, I'm looking at this number 1 car, Dustin Hall. He's currently making a move on that 74 machine, and he didn't quite get clear of him through 3 and 4, but he has been on a mission. And it looks like by the time they get to 1, he's going to just barely get clear of him. As he does, he slides up, and now he has set his sights on Jonathan Delaney in that 9 car. He's going to close up a little bit on entry, but Delaney getting a good corner exit. So these guys are going to continue to duel it out. And I got to ask, Josh, how much do you think teamwork is going to be able to help drivers like the drivers in Team Conti tonight at Auto Club? I know we usually think plate tracks are the primary locations where teamwork really matters, but there's a lot of slipstream and even some bump drafting potential at a track like this as well.
Yeah, the draft at a the draft at a track like Auto Club is very interesting. I mean, if you get out of it, you can lose the pace super hard, but if you're up there in clean air, it's awkward how much you can make pace in clean air. But when you're in traffic, if you lose that draft, it's like you just lose so much momentum. So Auto Club is definitely one of those interesting tracks when it comes to the draft. And with teamwork, I feel like if you have a guy that you need to go with to make speeds, you will. But if you're getting a run, I don't think you're going to see a lot of holding up for or waiting around, for their teammates.
Absolutely. But if they do get locked up and maybe they're able to bump draft each other, that could help a lot, especially if they're targeting a driver like Bryson Hixenbaugh, who right now there's a bit of a gap to the car behind. He's kind of all on his own. If some cars got trained up behind him and they got a run, I mean, I just don't know how easy or difficult it would be to really defend from that. I mean, I think you'd kind of feel like a sitting duck if you saw a 2 or 3 car train coming up about 10 miles an hour faster and you had nobody to help. But looking back through the field, it looks like Jonathan Delaney has been overtaken by Dustin Hall. He's doing his best to try to get back around him, but I don't think he's quite going to have the car to do it. From what I've seen, that 1 car is absolutely flying through this field. And I don't know what Team Conti hit on this setup, but whatever it is, they nailed it, because I'm watching this 1 car. If you look at the rear end of all of the Team Conti cars, they kind of get a little sideways, like they're dirt tracking through the center, almost crab walking, but nonetheless, they still look really stable despite that sort of controlled slide. And Jonathan Delaney...
That is Avatar. I don't know what kind of drawing that is, but man, that is Aang from Avatar, right? That's his name, I think.
That is not the Aang that I know. That is legend has it that's a real picture of Jonathan Delaney. He's not joking around. That's actually him. So
he bought 200 cases of Mountain Dew. Hey, power to your Roll Tide. That's what I like to hear.
Maybe that's where he got all that speed. I mean, he's up here running in P4, a very respectable position. Maybe he chugged some Mountain Dew, and now he's running in the top 5. But, we got a little bit of separation towards the front of the field, but this 3-car train spearheaded by Delaney now, I think things are heating up here. You got Cameron Stone at the back of it, running P6 right now in that 57 car. He's gaining on Brian Branham, who seems to maybe not have the best short-run car. We're going to see if that car comes to life in the long run. But Cameron Stone closing in on him, and Branham himself is closing in on Delaney. So a lot of different paces here that are about to merge with this closing rate, and it's going to be some interesting maneuvers these drivers are going to have to pull if they want to get around each other. Yeah,
for a second there, I thought they were going to make it a 4-way battle when we saw Dustin Hall initially carving his way up through those 3 cars, but he started to pull separation from them, and looks like it's starting to be a little bit of a 3-way battle here we got between Delaney, Branham, and Cameron Stone. He said, let's just see how these, as we start getting in a little bit of this longer run, we're going to see these guys taking these longer runs a little bit differently. Some guys are going to move to that higher line to try to save tires. Some guys are going to keep running that low line. Just that's how their setups are set up. Can't say it any differently, but that's how that's how it is. So we'll see how it definitely pans out here. I'm interested to see if we start seeing these guys keep diving to the low lane, or they're going to single file out, run up to the high lane. I don't know. I still feel like we're going to see a lot of racing right here.
Oh yeah, and you got to think some of these drivers have probably opted for more of a short run car. Like obviously Bryson's car is very fast in the short run, and of course it seems like all of the Team Conti cars kind of really shot up through the field pretty quick. But then some of these guys may have better long run setups that we're just not seeing yet. We're on lap 12, so very early in the race. Long ways to go before that first stage at lap 60, and so we're going to maybe see the pace kind of shuffle around. Maybe some drivers come to life and some drivers fade. And of course, pit road strategy that we always see every week. A lot of variables going to go into this. But of course, in the 57 car, Cameron Stone, that is the defending league champion. And I talked to him a little bit before the race. And after what happened at Daytona, he was not angry about what happened. He knew that everybody involved in that last corner was going to do what they had to do to win. He had some conversations with Chad, and they both were very amicable about what happened. And they kind of walked away saying, yeah, everybody did what they had to do. That being said, Cameron Stone's the kind of driver that when he wrecks out of one race, he comes back with a vengeance no matter what. He's not content for a top 10. He's not content for a top 15. He wants to win it. And right now, just seems like his car doesn't quite have the pace. He's running P6, which is respectable. But it seems like Branham and Delaney are starting to pull away a little bit. So going to keep an eye on Cameron Stone, see what he can do to maybe stage a bit of a comeback, if you can even call it that. Again, we're still so early on in the race. But yeah, right now, a lot of single file through the field. The closest battle that I'm looking at right now, behind that 3-car train there, is Brandon Pierce in that 38 machine for Team Apex, right behind his teammate Kevin Steele, Daytona 500 winner. Kevin Steele, I am sure he came into this race weekend on cloud 9, Josh. I can't imagine how excited he was to win that race and the kind of momentum that he carried in, but he is working his way through the field, running P10 currently, closing in on the car ahead.
Oh yeah, I get excited over winning, Carburetor Cup Daytona races, man. Just finishing that, I don't even want to know what it's like to finish, over 100 plus laps, 500 miles of Daytona, man. That's insane. That's a lot on a driver. So I'm pretty sure he's still riding that high from last week, and it's showing right now. He's in P10. He qualified 7th. He's fell back a couple positions, but he's gonna have that long run, and he's definitely gonna show his experience later, I'm sure.
Absolutely, and I gotta shout out that paint scheme. That Sunoco scheme that he designed for himself there is just a gorgeous car. Before the season started, everybody was kind of showing off their paint schemes, and that one was one that I was excited to see actually run in a race. And here it is, very early in the season. Gorgeous car. Kevin Steele, very talented at designing cars. He actually recently designed me a car. It was a recreation of the 2003 Stars and Stripes Michael Waltrip paint scheme, which is a scheme that it's very special to me, and it was really, really awesome of him to design that car. And it really made me want to get back into maybe some official races just so I could show that paint scheme off. But on your screen right now, Bryson Hixenbaugh, who is honestly just kind of driving away with it, Josh. I mean, quite a big gap back to Benefiel as Bryson just comes out of turn 4. And there comes the 83 car just out of turn 4. So nearly a 2.5 second gap, which is quite a bit for being as early as we are into the race.
Yeah, we're only on lap 17, and he's already almost up to a 2.5 second gap. So he's starting to chip away at that early gap. But it's going to be interesting to see what these pit stop strategies are going to do early on when these guys come down pit lane and decide to take 4 tires and feel. Going to see how it's going to shuffle the field up, and seen a couple of times. Some people like to stay out later than others, and you never know how it's going to work out with these pit lane strategies and what these guys got cooked up all week.
Absolutely. And as you ride on board with Jonathan Delaney on the hood cam, you can see almost looks like the cars ahead are kind of weaving a little bit, trying to break that draft and kind of prevent the cars from behind from getting a huge run like they can. But despite that, I think Delaney is just kind of holding his own right now. He's running his line. He's in the top 5. He's running P4. And he is slightly closing in on Dustin Hall, I believe, so maybe that's a long-run setup starting to come to life. But getting to him is one thing. Passing him is going to be a whole another thing. Of course, Dustin Hall, no relation to Daryl. So says the title card there. And Dustin Hall doing a great job right now, holding P3.
Ooh, Cameron Stone side-by-side battle with Brian Bram right now. As they come into the front stretch, he was getting a big run down the back stretch, and he seemed to take it on the inside of turn 3. I was watching from up here. It was a big run, so see if he clears this car right here. That's the 74 of Brian Bram.
He is going to get clear of him. He's going to slide right on up. I think Brandon's going to get a slight run out of the corner. Not sure it's going to be quite enough to make an attack here, although maybe he's going to get right on the bumper.
He's going to get there, but he's going to back off. He backed off. Yeah, he wasn't going to take that. I thought for sure he had it if he wanted to take it, but the big drive up from the 55 behind him almost got to the back bumper there.
That was, that was a huge run by Mason Lowry in that 56 machine. I didn't quite see that one coming. I think maybe that played into Branham's decision to back out of that move on Cameron Stone, because it's one thing to send it too wide on the driver in front of you, but it's a whole other thing when you got somebody on your bumper and you're afraid they might send it 3 wide. So they're going to have to be careful of that. But we got a bit of an LMM train behind Branham. We got Mason Lowry and Bryce Hoffman right behind him in a line, both driving for LMM, running inside the top 10. And behind those guys, you got Preston McRae in P9, running that gorgeous Burger King car. I like that scheme too, man. All the Team Apex, man, their schemes have just been absolutely phenomenal in my opinion. But that Burger King car holding his own in P9, and behind him, another Apex car, Kevin Steele, still running P10. Brandon Pierce, another Apex driver. So they got 1, 2, 3 from 10th on back. Wayne Grassley running P12. Wayne had a very unfortunate Daytona race. A lot of kind of misfortune befell him for sure. And I'm sure he wants a little bit of redemption, and I think after having a race like Daytona, just being able to come back to the track, run comfortably in P12, very respectable position, and keep it clean is definitely enough to kind of lift his spirits back up and get him back in the game. And Preston McRae failed to get a BK franchise. A lot of these drivers taking the bios very, very seriously, as you can tell, Josh.
Oh yeah, it seems like they are. Getting denied of a Burger King franchise, that's something you hold on to forever. I would be devastated.
I'm not sure I'd be too upset. I mean, I don't want to hate on Burger King, but there's some other franchises I might go for first.
Big move here. Oh, sorry, I was going to say Mason Lowry's actually racing with Brian Bram again. They're 2 wide now coming down the backstretch.
Yeah, that is quite a move he made. It looks like that 56 is starting to come to life. We keep coming back to him, and it's for a reason. He seems to be charging through the field. He's going to get clear of Branham, and the move is clear. And now his sights are set on, I believe that's Cameron Stone ahead of him. And he's got a ways to go, though. I mean, the gap between 6th and 5th is pretty big. Whereas Cameron Stone ahead of him.
Bryce Hoffman's taking it 2 wide into turn 1 now. Man, I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off, but these guys are just racing. I had to mute my mic. I was over here mute my mic, screaming into her, going, ooh, because they were starting to get racy back there. Whew. These driver pictures are getting to me. These bios are getting to me. The racing's getting to me. It's just it's a wild start here at Auto Club, man.
Quite the environment for sure. And Bryce Hoffman really hungry to get around Branham. He is trying to get down low, and it seems like maybe even get a little bit of a side draft. But it seems like through the corner, the 74 is doing a really fantastic job of holding the middle, and he's really showing why this track is so multi-lane. He can run the high line, and the 21 will get the run through the center of the corner, but then coming out, 74 can kind of get a bit of a run back at him. Of course, that time looks like he kind of let off, and he gave that position to Bryce with a huge run out of the corner from the 74. The question is, does he take it? He was in this position with Cameron Stone, and he didn't take it. Now it looks like he is. He's going to dive down low to the quarter panel of the 21, side by side, entering turns 3 and 4. 21 getting a huge run off the top. It's going to stall out right there. They're still bumper to bumper.
He is going to get a decent little run down the front stretch here, being so close on that back bumper, but I don't think he's going to have enough to take him back into turn 1. So it was a good try, but like you said, that run did stall out there in the low lane. He was starting to tighten up. You could see, I just saw it from my perspective, it's just started plowing. So yeah, he was definitely a little bit too hard into the corner, as you see it starting to affect his run here, because now he's a little bit off the back bumper of the 21 car of Bryce Hoffman. He's falling back now.
And the attacks don't stop coming for Brian Branham. He has the 24 car, Kevin Steele, now making a move down low. Looks like he's going to give it to him. 24 got clear pretty quick there. Had to check up a lot, though. You can see
he might come back, though.
Yeah, that's the difference right there. The bottom lane is fast, but you got to be careful because you do sometimes got to jab the brakes or let off the throttle a little bit to try to get that car to rotate, and that is, of course, going to stall your momentum. And that allows the driver on the outside to get the run coming out. So got to make sure you got all your rotation, got to make sure you got a lot of car control, and even then you're going to lose a little bit of momentum on the bottom. That said, Kevin Steele was able to use the bottom pretty much textbook, and he is right on up into P8. So slowly charging through his field, and I think we're starting to see who has the long run setups and who doesn't, Josh.
Yeah, you are correct. It seems like these guys in the midfield have kind of just been holding off, besides Kevin Steele now moving up a couple positions, and these like 7th through 10th guys have just kind of been holding off now. I mean, they're now just starting to shuffle around, but our leaders have been just solid. Bryson Hicksonbaugh is now up 4 seconds on Adam Benefield, and he's 5 seconds on Jonathan Delaney, so he's got a pretty good lead on these guys right now. Or excuse me, 3 seconds and 4 seconds. You know, I'm not the most accurate with the timings when I'm looking at my actual graph, but that graph's way more accurate. So look on that screen. Don't trust Josh in the booth with your timings.
Yeah, I said it last week. I'll say it again. We are commentators, Josh. We are not mathematicians. We don't get paid to do math. Therefore, if it's a little off, I think that's all right. But
whoa, math!
Oh man! Oh no! My calculations, they were off.
That was me, like 9th through 12th grade right there. Every math question, just sitting there trying to understand. That was me. Yeah, I hate math, man.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. That was my least favorite subject. But so going back to the gap between first and second, it's right at about 3.6 seconds. That's a pretty big gap. But that being said, I don't think that's necessarily indicative of what we're going to see later in the race, because Adam Benefield is a very smart driver. I've watched him drive quite a bit, and one thing I've inferred is that he's not aggressive when he doesn't have to be. He doesn't take more than he gives. He's a very clean driver. And when you have that kind of driver, almost a Mark Martin-esque sort of driving style, what you see often is that they don't really push the car early on in the race because there's not much of a need to. If he were to be up there leading the stage, maybe get a stage win for those playoff points, that's a great bonus. But right now, running P2, taking it easy, getting a feel for the car, getting a feel for the track, knowing that the field is going to be restacked, we're going to have the stage caution at lap 60, and you know that we're gonna have an opportunity to kind of get regrouped. I think he's feeling fine, just riding around P2, not a bad place to be. And if anything did happen to Bryson Hicksonbaugh, if he got loose, if anything happened, he would be in the catbird seat. But it looks like we got some action down pit road. I believe I heard Pierce. Yep, that is a 38 car made his way on pit road. So a little bit of a short stop maybe for Team Apex.
Yeah, and it sounds like we're going to have Dustin Hall coming on the radio saying he is going to be coming down pit road this time as well. So looks like we have a couple takers, actually, as I forgot to mute my driver chat before this race started. So I can tell you what everybody's pitting. As here comes everybody. Yeah. Hey, look at that. I didn't say my driver chat was on. I just have mind control. You know, I'm just smart. I'm that smart. I knew they were going to pit this time.
Absolutely, you read their minds. And so it seems like Team Conti, Team Apex, now I believe that's Tim Rail coming down pit road for LMM. So a lot of drivers opting to take the short stop strategies, kind of splitting the stage in half. I just heard Cody Bird come across the radio. Sounds like he's going to be coming down pit road. So I got to wonder, does this kind of affect the mindset of the drivers still out on the track? Drivers like Bryson Hicksonbaugh, I believe Cameron Stone is still out on track. Do they maybe come down pit road to try and negate the damage that this short stop strategy is going to cause? And yes, they will. Here comes Cameron Stone on that 57. Very busy pit road these last few laps.
Yeah, this is a very busy pit road. Like you were saying, I'm interested to see about Bryson Hicksonbaugh and Jonathan Delaney, what they're going to do here if they do come down pit lane soon, because they do seem to still have a decent little pace going with their tires. So not sure. If they do decide to come in soon, then I wouldn't be surprised, but I wouldn't honestly be surprised to see maybe Bryson or Delaney choose to stay out on the long run. But that's just me.
Right, and you got to think maybe we're going to see a yellow flag, or maybe these drivers are anticipating a yellow flag, because we've gone 33 laps, relatively incident-free, quite a bit of separation, a lot of clean action. Maybe these guys are thinking, In the mind of Bryson Nixonbaugh, maybe he's thinking there's a lot of cars left on the track. Tires are starting to wear. Maybe somebody slips up. They make a mistake. We get a caution. And if that happens, I don't want to be trapped on pit road or be trapped a lap down, because that is one of the downfalls of a short stop strategy when you come in before everybody else. If caution comes out before they pit, you could be trapped a lap down. So it's going to be interesting seeing what Bryson Nixonbaugh does and what does he choose.
Yeah, it seems like most of our mid-pack guys that didn't elect to go early with the guys who are hanging around 10th and I'd say about 6th through 11th position decided to pit. Now they have moved back. Now we're starting to see a couple of those guys starting to pit. We've seen Mason Lowry, Chad Edwards, and a couple of those guys come in this time, and now we're seeing our 4th place on track on before pit cycle, gets all through. He's 4th place now, but now he's dropping back already. Brian Bram coming in and Ryan Samuelson coming in. So
I'm looking at the pit stall of Adam Benefiel in that 83 car, and I'm seeing some skid marks leading into the stall in front of him. And he lost a lot of time on pit road, so I can only infer that maybe he overshot his stall, had to back it up, which is going to lose him some time for sure. He's right now running P23, which the cars ahead of him that came in behind are almost innumerable. You've got Tim Rail ahead of him. You have Preston McRae in that 53 machine. All these drivers came in behind him. And it looks like actually he may have re-entered pit road, I'm getting word. So that's really interesting. I'm not sure what happened to that 83 car, but definitely disastrous early on.
Yeah, and that's something you don't want to see if you're Adam Benefield. Another unfortunate turn of events. Here we go. We're going to see a replay of what happened to the 83.
You can see he's making his way down pit road. Everything seems to be relatively routine. Although I think by now he's... Oh no, here he comes, driving through the pit stalls. It's a clean entry.
Maybe a speeding penalty?
That could be.
Maybe he had a drive-through for a speeding penalty?
That's the only thing I can think of. But then why would he stop in his stall the second time? If it was a drive-through.
Oh, yeah, it could have been... It could have maybe been a stop and go then. That's what I meant to say. I don't know why I said drive-through.
I wasn't even aware there were stop and go. I thought they were all drive-throughs for speeding, so I'm a little confused. Your commentator not entirely sure what's going on. I do apologize, but interesting situation for sure.
Let's see. This is the second time he came around, yeah. And then he is stopped, not taking any tires, maybe forgot fuel. Yeah, and it took a 44-second stop, so.
Maybe something... Oh no, we're having major server issues. Cameron Stone lagged out. Ryan Samuelson, Thoroughput fell through. John Delaney, Dalton Mobley, Dustin Hall, all dropping from the session. Cody Bird now has dropped out.
Oh no, what's happening?
Okay, Damaris Hickenbottom, a league administrator, has fell through. John Pillion, Tim Rail has light out. We have nearly 10 drivers. Brandon Pierce is going to make it 10. 10 drivers that have disconnected.
We have drivers connecting back, but we're going to go ahead and go to a Shane. Okay, let me...
Shane-O Pedals FX. Yeah, Overdrive. Shane-O FX Overdrive. And that was your Shano FX Overdrive. We had a bit of an issue with the server, and as I'm hearing on the radio, they're going to throw a admin caution. The drivers who were disconnected from the server are going to reconnect, and there is the yellow flag that was promised. The caution has flown. I'm not sure how they're going to handle this. I would say they're going to try to give these guys their laps back, but they had to have lost more laps than we can reasonably give back. It would take a very long time, I would assume, Josh, to get these guys back around.
Yeah, I'm not sure how they're going to go about this. Obviously, this isn't a we point a guy here, we point a guy there. No more laps to have to go around. But like you said, these guys have been green flagged for a couple of laps, so it's going to be a struggle here to try to get everybody back on the lead lap here. It's definitely not going to be easy. I'm pretty interested to see what they're going to do here and how they handle this in race control.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's throw it to a short commercial while everybody gets this sorted out. Or a short break, and we will return and get back to the coverage as soon as we get everything sorted out and the drivers get back to the action. Regardless of what happens, this race will continue. You're going to see some more great action from Auto Club. Rest assured of that. And if the first part of this race is anything to go off of, I think it's going to be some great action. So stay tuned, and we'll be back. All right, welcome back to the coverage of the Auto Club race here for the 100% Cup Series. Just a quick update for you guys. Pretty much everybody who disconnected is back in the session. The admins have figured out what we're going to do. The competitors have followed the pace car down pit road. They're going to bring their cars to a stop, and everybody who disconnected is going to make their way around the track and manually get their laps back through that method. Once everybody gets their laps back, we're going to get another competition caution. We're going to get set up and back to racing. Once we get that figured out, we'll bring the coverage right back. And until then, we're going to go back to a short break. Thanks for your patience, and we will be back. All right, we are back for just another minute here to update you guys. So a caution flag came out when the admins intended to keep it green so that everybody else could get their laps back, just kind of a quirk of the iRacing system. So we're going to go ahead and follow the pace car. We're going to try to get this thing back green and then follow the original plan as I had stated once that happens. But until then, again, we're still working through this. Again, I apologize greatly for the inconvenience, but I do thank you all for your patience. This is kind of an unprecedented, very weird situation that I don't think anybody expected, and the admins are doing a fantastic job working through it on such unexpected notice. We will be back in just a little bit for more action from Auto Club, so stay tuned.
Hello, folks. If you're here to see the 100 Cup Series coverage at Auto Club, we are still live, but we had a little bit of a server hiccup. We had about 10 drivers disconnect, and while we stayed green trying to figure out what was going on, we decided to go to a red flag condition, or what we like to call a homemade red flag condition here. But the 100% guys Cup Series race control has gotten it under control, and what you see out on track is right now is the guys who disconnected making their laps back up. So once they get back on the lead lap here, we're going to throw a competition caution, get these guys racked back up, and we're going to be back to green flag racing here. So if you just joined and didn't understand what was going on, now you do. So thank you for holding on. Thank you for sticking by, and we hope we can get back to some green flag racing here soon. So just stick by, and we'll be back with you.
Welcome back to our coverage of the Auto Club 100% Cup Series race. Finally, we have got this all sorted out again. We at 3Wide TV do apologize for the inconvenience, and we thank you again for your patience in this situation. Again, very unexpected, kind of difficult to work through for the admins, but they, again, did a fantastic job figuring this out so quickly. The cars are back out on the track pacing, and we're going to be getting a comp caution to get the drivers restacked so they can get back to some green flag action. But some things that happened during that, it looks like Brandon Pierce may have taken an extra lap, so he had to stay in pit road while these guys went around one time. He did that. That's all taken care of. And as far as I'm aware of, this is all sorted out. And Josh, there was a driver who was kind of an unspoken beneficiary of this caution that has been caused by this situation, and that is Adam Benefiel, who was a lap down due to this situation with him having to come down pit road 2 times. Now he's going to be able to get his lap back, and he's right back in the action.
Seems like it, and man, it's going to be a completely different race now. I mean, it's thrown a wrench in a lot of these guys' strategy, having to this is going to be a completely different race here. But they're about to go caution here, and now we're going to get ready to if these guys want to cycle back through and pit again. I'm not sure if anybody will. They might, not sure. Some of these guys did run a couple green flag laps out there, so.
Man, I think these guys have seen enough of pit road. They probably don't want to come back down there just for that reason alone. But yeah, I can't see anybody really taking too much service. I mean, right before this happened was right when everybody started making their way down pit road. A lot of drivers had just taken 4 tires. Maybe some of the drivers took 2. I don't know. But John Delaney in the race chat saying, just another day in the office. I got to disagree, John. Not just another day. That was a very odd situation. But again, we got through it. We're going to get back to racing very shortly. The pace car making its way onto the racing surface. It's going to gather up the field. And like you said, Josh, it's going to be interesting to see, does anybody maybe pit again if they have any reason to. I think there were some drivers who had stayed out until this caution occurred. There were some drivers still left that hadn't pitted.
Yeah, we did have our leader, who I'm riding on board with right now, who is consider our leader, RJ Root. He hasn't pitted since lap 30, so he was the last of people. Or no, he was our first person. Excuse me. I don't know why I would say he hasn't pitted yet. Lap 30 was only 19 laps ago. I'm the one confused too all over this red flag situation. So he was one of the people that pitted earlier. He was our earliest pitter of the field, so I could maybe see him coming down, but nope. Looks like Daniel Fields is going to go ahead and hop down pit road. So that's about it. Looks like Daniel Fields might be our only taker unless a couple of these cars catching up towards the back are going to drop in. Seems like not. So,
Dan Fields, the lone car, making his way down pit road. And it's kind of interesting to me. I would have thought some of these guys that pitted on lap 30, despite the tire limit that is imposed, would maybe want to take some tires, because I believe, and I may be wrong here, the situation got everything jumbled up, but I am pretty sure we're still going to have the stage caution at lap 60. So just about 10 laps away by the time actually about 9 laps away by the time we go green. So it's going to be a bit of a dash to the first stage end.
Yeah, and while we were under that red flag situation, I know a couple drivers did pull into the pits and go into their pit stalls, and I think I heard, not sure who it was, but a couple drivers say they accidentally used a set of tires coming in on that red flag. So it could be a little bit of a weird situation here.
Absolutely. I believe Wayne Grassy was one of the drivers who accidentally came down pit road, so he's got fresh tires. He gave up some position doing it. I think he received an end of the line. Perhaps. I'm not entirely sure. Again, the situation is very, very difficult to keep track of. We're just listening to the administrators and trying to relay what we hear, and that's the best we can do. Right now, it looks like RJ Root is the race leader by some means in that number 8 car, which, man, that is a crazy number texture he's got on there. Absolutely gorgeous, almost reflective in a way. And now maybe some more connection issues. Maybe the server chaos is not over.
Whoa, they're wrecking. Somebody just wrecked into the infield.
That's Brian Branham, and Brian Branham was one of them. I'm trying to find the other one. I'm gonna rewind, take a look at. Oh, it looks like Ryan McDaniel,
Yeah, I
Brian
saw.
Branham. We're gonna look at a replay here. Somebody's shooting the middle, and then he blinks out. The connection gets dropped as we go to the scenic cam because the car is out of the session technically. And I think maybe when he came back, that caused some of the issues. So I'm looking at the number 99, Ryan McDaniel, and it doesn't show on the replay, but there were two cars inside of each other. We had the 74 and the 09 of Damaris Hickenbottom. So Branham and Hickenbottom, those cars were kind of glitching together, and they sort of rubber banded into the back of the 99, who I'm not sure they could see. I think from their perspective, the 99 was not on track. Yeah, I don't think they could see him, Josh. I think from their perspective, he was blinked out.
Yeah, I would say that's exactly what happened. I've had that exact thing happen to me, and it's confusing. You don't know what happened. You just get taken out by nothing. So it happens. That's definitely unfortunate. We've had server issues, and we have looks like a couple drivers, Reeves. Yeah, like you said, a couple drivers have disconnected again. So
we have lost nearly 12 drivers again. Actually, no, we lost 12 exactly. This time, Cameron Stone among those who have disconnected. So another situation kind of developing here with the servers, iRacing clearly having some issues. Josh, I'd say now is a good time to throw it back to another break while we listen into the admins and figure out what's happening. Again, I can't apologize enough. I'm sure the viewers at home are getting a little frustrated. Nobody is more frustrated than the drivers behind the wheel. Obviously, they want to get back to racing just as much as we want to watch the race. But we'll just say it's raining. We are under rain delay here at Auto Club, which, you know, some California rain. We can see the overcast there, Josh. We'll just say it's raining. We're going to throw it to a break, and we'll be back momentarily. All right, welcome back to the coverage of the Auto Club race. Another server issue has emerged. A lot of drivers disconnected. This time I counted 13 drivers that got DC'd. We're going to repeat the procedure from the first time this happened. The drivers are going to make their way down pit road. We're going to have the drivers that disconnected rejoin the session. They're going to make their way around the track, manually get their laps back. And in the meantime, the 74 of Brian Branham and the 99 of Ryan McDaniel are going to go to their pit stalls and try to get as much of that damage fixed as possible. Of course, they received that damage due to these server issues. We were having some issues identifying it when it happened, but essentially what happened was, from Brian Branham's perspective, everybody blinked out, and when they came back, he had a car pretty much merged with his own, and they sort of slingshotted into the back of the 99, Ryan McDaniel. There was nothing that anybody could do. There was nobody at fault, nobody to blame. It was just a matter of the servers messing up and nobody being able to really physically react to that. We're going to take a look at the replay of it as it happened. And you can see they're pacing. We're under yellow. We're trying to get everything restacked. And then here comes the 09 inside the 74 and just a hard contact with the 99. And, of course, none of those guys could see each other's cars. All they could see was themselves. due to the servers, and that's what happened to those guys. So we did identify that issue, and these guys are getting their laps back. We're going to throw it back to another break, and we will see you in a minute when we get back to pacing. If you could throw it back real quick, we got an update. They're making a new. Okay, we are live. Kind of working on the fly here. We're gonna make a new session, ladies and gentlemen. The admins have determined that this session is a little bit volatile, and we can't really trust the servers for this session. So what they've decided to do is we are ending stage 1. The points for stage 1 are going to be awarded in the order that the drivers were running prior to the pit cycle. So lap 29. The first car to come down pit road came on lap 30. So wherever they were running on lap 29 is where they are going to be considered to have finished for stage 1. The admins are going to go into the iRacing service. They're going to make another server, and we're going to start after stage 1. So it'll be 140 laps in the new session, though we're going to consider it a continuation of this one. We're going to throw it to another break. When they get this session up, we're going to come right back and bring you all the action. Actually, we're going to throw it to last week's race. A little bit of rain delay filler that we can throw up for you to keep you mildly entertained during all of our issues here. Thanks for your patience, and we'll be right back.
He's got no help for 57, so they should dice this up very easy. It's going to be a very easy pass. So what is Cameron Stone going to do here? He should get past by the 63 of Hicksabot and Chad Edwards. And yeah, they are clear. You can see the back bumper. Chad Edwards, that's Hicksabot just clears him off. 57 going to the high side. He's going to pick up the 24 of Kevin Still and the 09 of Demarius Higginbotham. So, yeah.
You called it out. No help for Cameron Stone. His teammates were all kind of on the high line and left him out to dry. When the 63 and the Ford jumped out to make that move, it was like a parachute got deployed, like he was driving a dragster at the end of the strip. I mean, that 57 just dropped back, and now it's going to be the 4 and the 63 1-2, but here comes Apex on the charge again, Josh, right there on that high side.
Yeah, but it looks like this lap car might play as a pick unless he goes 3 wide, which it looks like he is. He's going to go to the top end of the track. Sees Apex Say it. Oh, my goodness. It was almost bad. Those Apex Motorsports cars, they've got a big run coming out of turn 2, and they're going to be going down the backstretch hard. Wow. Here we go. This is going to be an awesome run here. Here they come. The 24 shifting around, giving the 57 a big run. They're going to clear the 4. Is the 24 going to pull down in front of him? No, it looks like the 57 might, but it looks like the Apex Motorsports guys are going to stay to the top. That's the 53 of Chris McRae. Oh, my goodness. Man, leading the back of that pack for the Apex guys. These guys are pushing hard. They got pushed back a little bit, but, man, they came charging hard on that next lap as we are coming to lap 194 of 200. Man, it's almost over, but it ain't. It's not over yet. It might be getting to 5 laps, but hey, this is still anyone's race.
Oh, 24 getting a little bit loose into the corner again. Kevin Steele's got to be keeping an eye on his temperature because he has not left the bumper of that 57 for about a lap and a half now, pushing like a madman, weaving left and right. All right, welcome back to our coverage of the Auto Club race. While the admins are making a new session, we got a few drivers in the infield care center. We're going to bring up Cody Bird first. Cody Bird, you got a copy?
I got a copy.
So we saw you in the infield care center. We assumed you had a few words to say. Obviously, the situation in the race right now, less than ideal. The iRacing servers not wanting to cooperate. But we're getting through it best we can. Cody, looked like you had a pretty strong car throughout the early portions of the race there. And what's your outlook on the rest of the session going forward once it goes up?
Yeah, looking forward to it. Just wanted to come in here and just give props to the admin team. I mean, obviously not the best hand dealt with the servers, but I think they handled it the best they could. So going to enjoy this rain delay a little and just get ready for the rest of the race. I feel like I have a strong car that can definitely get up there towards the top 10 and hopefully continue to run well today.
Absolutely. How was the car feeling out there? We saw a lot of different setups. It seemed like a lot of guys had short run setups and some guys had long run setups. Was your car feeling up to par out there?
It was towards the end of the run. I was definitely getting tight, losing speed, and I had a strategy in place. Hopefully I can implement it here at the start of this next new session that's going to be going up, so that way that I can hopefully gain some track position. Obviously guys like Bryson and Cam are going to be fast. Bryson showed that early on. Don't know if I have the speed to really compete with them, but just going to go out there and have fun.
Absolutely. Well, Cody, we thanks for your time, and hopefully you can continue your momentum into the next race session here as we continue the race that we had. We got a few more drivers in the infield care center, your teammates, so we're going to have a word with them. And again, thanks for your time, and good luck going forward, Cody.
Thank you, Andre. You guys as well.
All right, that was Cody Bird, driver of the number 13. Tell you what, Josh, I'm going to bring up Bryson. I'm going to let you take this one and see what's going on with Bryson.
Hey, Bryson, this is Josh in the booth. You got me?
I got you.
Hey, buddy, leading the race right now. It's been a tough one to hold on to with all these server issues, but you guys are managing it really well out there. It's probably one of the most professional red flag scenarios I've ever seen in iRacing, so good job handling that. But other than that, man, how's the car feeling right now with this? We were just now starting to get into our first late run pit stops, but how is it feeling coming to the end of that run, and how is it going to be feeling once you get back out there when we get green and going on them fresh tires? And we're coming up to the end of the stage here soon, so it's going to be interesting.
Car was working really good. It's pretty loose those first couple laps. I almost wrecked it, taking the lead on lap 1, but it tightens up, and it tightens up maybe a little bit too much, so I'll see how the new session is, if I need to tighten it up a little bit more or loosen it up, or see where it goes from there. But it's got really great short run speed, and it's keeps up long run.
Yeah, we definitely saw you had a really good long run speed for sure. You were starting to build a little bit of a gap there towards the end before we started having those big server issues and just started the green flag pit stops. But overall, man, either way, good job out there, and we're excited to see what you got going forward. And we got a couple more drivers here in the infield care center. They're piling up. They're ready to talk. We know we're under a little bit of a rain delay right now, so
got a little bit of a break here. Maybe to give something for the broadcast, because I know that you guys probably haven't had much to talk to since it's first started.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But I got another question out there, Bryce. So you obviously seem to have a bit of a long run setup, like you'd said. That car was absolutely dialed. I mean, it looked super smooth out there. But Adam Benefiel, it seemed like he dropped back about 3.5 seconds or so, and then he kind of maintained that gap. If we have another green flag run, how are you feeling about the competition from behind? You seem to have something for you there. Think you're going to be able to hold them off?
It's going to be tough out there. The dirty air makes it a big difference to where if he got in front of me, I'd have a tough time getting back around him. And we'll see if he was to get the lead, how far back I'd fall or how big of a lead he'd get. But I think it'll be good out there. I know I also saw Delaney. He's really slow short run, but he was catching me before those stops. So if we get a long run, maybe a 50-lap run to the finish, I think he could be right there.
Absolutely, and that's what you see at a lot of these 2-mile tracks where the tire wear is so brutal. A lot of different strategies with the setups. People who find the short run hot ticket or the long run, and it's something going to be interesting. And I'm just hoping that the iRacing servers are going to be cooperative, and that we're going to be able to get this in, because so far you guys are putting on some fantastic racing. But I got to ask Bryson, have you ever experienced anything like this in iRacing or in sim racing in general? A rain delay, red flag type situation? Is this new to you?
Well, I haven't had a full-on red flag, but last year, in fact, in this league, in the first Vegas race, we had this same issue where about half the field dropped out, including myself. They did a similar thing where they kind of red flagged the race. They just threw a long caution, and the field kept pacing while everybody got their laps back. And I was thankful for them to do that, and they came up with the same solution for this one, just a little bit better so that laps weren't pulled off the board too much. Fortunately, it didn't work out because of the continued disconnecting issues, but yeah.
All right. Well, Bryson, thanks for your time. Good luck in the rest of the race. We got to get to some of these other drivers here because they are piling up, like Josh said. But yeah, your car looks strong, and I'm excited to see what you can do for the rest of the race.
Thank you, guys. Good luck on the broadcast.
Thank you. That was your current race leader, Bryson Hickson-Baugh, as they ran on lap 29. I'm going to bring up a driver who I feel like is going to be able to clarify some stuff. We've got Ryan McDaniel in the infield care center. He was one of the drivers involved in that incident due to the blinking and the lag. Luckily, with a new session, that means new cars. So kind of a lucky break for him. We're going to bring him up. Ryan McDaniel, you got a copy? Ryan, you got a copy, bud?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep, we got you now. So, Ryan, you seem to have a strong car out there, but then, of course, during this second session of pacing, while everybody was trying to get their laps back and everybody was trying to get things figured out, the servers seemed to kind of have more issues, and cars started to blink. Drivers couldn't see one another, and in all the chaos, it seems like Brian Branham, Damaris Hickenbottom, as well as yourself kind of got together, mainly because you couldn't see each other, and there was a lot of damage to your car. Walk me through exactly what was happening from your perspective.
Yeah, it was pretty wild, actually. We'd gone through everything, and we were lining back up, and over our chat, we were saying, oh, it looks like people are dropping again. And I was like, oh, look, this person just dropped. And then as we were just saying, like, looking at who was dropping, I mean, I'm not even looking at my rearview mirror, obviously, and next thing I know, I'm looking at the outside wall, and I try to turn it back in, and I'm in the grass, and I thought my car was going to flip when I got hit. I think what happened is Damaris was gone. Like, he didn't see any of us, but Brian and I were still there, and he just went through us, probably going, I don't know, it had to be 50 miles per hour faster than us.
Wow. Definitely an unfortunate situation, but what is fortunate is that with the new session being made, that means a fresh car. So you're not going to have any of that damage. Neither is Brian Branham or Damaris Hickenbottom. You guys are going to get the fresh start that I would say you guys definitely deserve. I don't think anybody deserves to be DNF'd out of a race because of server issues and lag that's acquired through those. So with your second chance that you have there, Ryan, what's your outlook going forward?
I'm hoping that you could pull off something crazy. It makes me think of that All-Star race when it rained and a bunch of those car wrecks, and those cars wrecked, and NASCAR let them bring the backup cars in. So hopefully we can bring this backup car into a new session and pull a Jeff Gordon and get the win here.
Absolutely. So, again, we wish you luck moving forward. We are going to have to cut your interview a little bit short. The new session is going up. We're going to probably throw it to a quick break while we get this figured out, and then we're going to get to some more interviews. But, Ryan, we thank you for your time, and good luck going forward.
10-4.
All right. We're going to throw it to another quick break while everybody gets connected. In the meantime, or once we get back, I should say, we're going to have a couple more Infield Care Center interviews. We'll be back in just a moment. Third, I'll take the second place finisher. But let's see if we can drag in. It was Preston McRae in third, right?
Yes.
All right.
Go ahead and grab him now. Hey, Preston, this is Josh in the booth. You got me, man? Hey, well, first, congratulations, number one, on finishing P3. Also, congratulations, because the end of that race was just hectic.
We are back to our rain delay coverage of the race here at Auto Club for the 100% Cup Series. Josh, we got a couple more drivers in the Infield Care Center. I'm going to bring up Ryan Samuelson, the driver of the number 16 for FRR, and let you have a word with him.
Hey, Ryan, this is Josh in the booth. You got me, buddy?
Yeah, I gotcha. What's up, guys?
Not much. Trying to survive this little bit of this red flag right here, but it seems like we're about to be getting back to it. But running 14th right now before all this carnage went to going. So, how are you feeling about when we get back to going green? Your car's going to get to filling, because you got a fresh race car this time, so you're going to be able to recycle back in. How do you think it's going to feel?
All I know is I won't finish last. That's why I'm excited.
All right, so we're already winning with not finished.
We're already winning by not finishing.
Am I still there? I'm sorry. I think my Discord might have frozen. My iRacing was opening. I'm sorry about that. What was you saying?
I said, yeah, we're already winning by not finishing last.
Oh yeah, for sure. I can definitely feel that. It looks like everybody's starting to get back onto the track here, though. But hey, looks like Bryce Hoffman's wrecking. So at least you're not. Okay, well.
Yeah,
all right.
Interesting.
I
sorry
got
about
a crap car. So have a good broadcast, guys. I'll be watching soon.
Sorry about that, Ryan.
You're all good.
All right.
You're all good.
All right. Have a good day, man.
And with that, that is the last driver out of the Infield Care Center. And now the new session's up, Josh, and I don't know about you, but I am itching to get back to racing. The guys were putting on a fantastic show, I think, before all of this went down. A lot of side-by-side action, some separation towards the front of the field, as to be expected. But, man, I think where this race was really shining was mid-pack, where you saw a lot of different, 2 and 3 wide battles emerging. And I think we're pretty much going to expect to see the same thing going forward, especially now that there's less of the race left. We're skipping to the end of stage 1. We're going to be starting this race with 140 laps remaining. And as laps wind down, I think it might be go time, Josh.
Yeah, you would be correct. This is going to be it's going to be interesting to see how this throws a wrench into Jonathan Delaney and those drivers that were up in the front. It's going to be interesting to me to see how it just. I don't know. I just don't see how it's going to affect these drivers. I feel like coming out of this red flag situation on the rain delay, that can really change the pace of a lot of these race car drivers' races. So it's just going to be interesting to see how they gather it back up and try to settle back into this race.
Absolutely. And it does kind of throw you out of your rhythm. That's a good point, Josh, because when you got to settle back into a race after sitting there in pit road and not racing, when you'd already started the race, you were already in the groove, in the rhythm of it, and now that has been disrupted entirely. And it's up to you to kind of get back in that rhythm and find the feel of the car and start turning those laps and get that consistency back. It's a tough thing to do, but of course, I think a lot of these drivers should be able to get right back into it. A lot of talent in this field, absolutely all throughout the field, and if anybody can get back to it, it's these guys, and I'm sure they're excited for it. And I think maybe this delay might have upped the aggression levels a little bit. You got to think maybe they're getting a little bit antsy after waiting around for so long.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they try to manage the race cars. I mean, because we're still going to have 140 laps to go when these guys come back from the red flag. So, are they going to hop on it and try to get as many positions as they can and try to eat up that equipment, or do we see guys still manage here? Like you said, it's going to be interesting because they're going to be so antsy after sitting here for so long. We've been on a whole rain delay. It's been a whole day since we've been at the racetrack, man. So these guys are definitely excited to get back out there and get going. So, not sure how it's going to pan out.
Absolutely, and it does throw a wrench into it. Makes it a little bit more of a variable. I'm looking at cars getting loose right now as we get everything sorted out. The number 4 car was coming out of turn 2 full speed, and he got really, really sideways. So cold tires. I think a lot of these drivers are kind of used to how their cars were feeling prior to the break. The tires were a little bit older, a little bit warmer, so a little bit of added grip. But now they're on cold tires. Everything's sort of feeling a little bit slicker. So these guys are going to have to deal with it, and the 4 car especially. Several times I've seen him get loose. But right now we're heading on board with the gyro cam of Dan Fields. We had a word with him briefly in the infield care center. Now he's getting back to it in that 66 machine, and he's going to be hopefully regaining his composure here like everybody else.
Yeah, and if you're just joining us, folks, we are not under green flag situation right now. These drivers are actually in a new server while we wait for everyone to reconnect. Last server, we had a bunch of disconnect issues. We were under a red flag for a little bit, and then it seemed to have the virtual rain come down on the racetrack, and we had to start a new server. We're back here at Auto Club, so these guys are going to have 140 laps when they come back. They're just getting a little bit of practice in before we get back to green flag racing. That's just how you have to do it with iRacing. So, and we're just letting these guys get a little bit of time to get back in and try to get back into it. So, but this is not green flag right now, so just didn't want to confuse anybody.
And one added note is that we're going to have stage 2 be called at lap 60 of this race. So technically it would be the second stage, and it should be lap 120. But of course we had to make a new session due to the aforementioned server issues. So technically, although it appears to be stage 1 at lap 60, it is stage 2. From there, we're going to have an 80-lap final stage with plenty of green flag stops, I'm sure, along the way, and plenty of action. But with this 15 minutes of practice remaining in the session before we get back to gridding and racing, we're going to throw it to another short break. And finally, after all this time, I can assure you we're going to be back to racing. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Auto Club race for the 100% Cup Series. We are finally, I don't know how many times I got to say this, but we're finally getting things underway and figured out. Of course, the situation kind of unprecedented, I think, for me personally. I've never really experienced anything like this on iRacing, and it's a weird situation. I don't think it's exclusive to our sessions. We've kind of put out some feelers, and from what we've understood, a lot of other sessions and a lot of other league races right now are having server issues. So quite possibly an issue client side on iRacing. So hopefully that doesn't mean that this session is going to have the same issue. Hopefully we're going to be able to get this thing going. But the drivers are in their cars. We have gridded up Josh. And finally, as long as nothing goes wrong, knock on wood, we should be good to go.
Yeah, and you were mentioning about server issues. I don't know if you did mention about the 40 laps. Did you mention that?
I did not. Go ahead and
okay,
tell the
so
viewers.
yeah, if we do get to 40 laps in this session, so running 40 laps, that would be what we would have been about 90 laps in on the official session. Yeah, we'd have been about halfway already. So yeah, we're 40 laps in this session would have put us to our halfway point on the official race. So after the delay on that, if we get to 40 laps and we keep having those issues, they're going to call the race official there. But if we don't get to the halfway and we have server issues again, we are going to postpone the race maybe to a off week, or we're not sure. That would be to be determined. Goodness, that was getting caught up on my tongue. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes here. But hopefully, like you said, Andre, we don't get server issues and we get a awesome race right here.
Absolutely. The pace car getting ready to pull off. We are getting reports that a lot of drivers are blinking. But we're gonna ignore that, and we're gonna pretend that everything is fine because the pace car is gonna pull off. And you know, Josh, this has been a bit of a great reset for a lot of guys, including Adam Benefiel, who you're gonna see on the outside of row 1. He's gonna be starting alongside Bryson Hicksonbaugh, as Bryson's gonna get a great jump there, right on the bottom lane. Good car and a half length gap to second place, as Bryson is known to do. But yeah, for Adam Benefiel, this is a kind of a godsend in a way because he was down an entire lap due to some issues on pit road, and it seemed like his race might have been over before it started, but due to all of these issues, the admins had decided that we were going to call stage 1 at lap 29 of the original session, and on lap 29, for counting stage 1, Adam Benefiel was in second place, so he gets his second place starting position here, and definitely a second chance that I don't think anybody could have expected. But hopefully he puts it to good use as he gets really loose. The 83 sideways out of the corner. He gathers it up. But now he is slowly falling to the clutches of the cars behind. And that's not good, Josh. Looks like more blinking behind.
Yeah, it does indeed. I saw a bunch of smoke there coming down the front stretch. So if we start seeing a bunch of drivers disconnect, like we said, they will probably postpone this race. But nothing's happened yet. So maybe we'll hopefully get it to maybe where it can be called official, or I don't know. I know a lot of these drivers probably wouldn't want that race to be official in 40 laps because they know they probably still got a very big opportunity to win this race.
Absolutely. And until something happens, I got faith. I got faith that I think the server issues are finally getting worked through, and hopefully we're going to be able to keep this session going. Bryson Hicksonbaugh right now, your session leader, he is about a second or so up on, not quite a second, up on the 83 car, and kind of a mirror image of what we saw in the beginning of the stage 1, where the 63 built up quite a big gap to Adam Benefiel, and didn't seem like Benefiel was able to really reel him in until later on in the run. Once the lap started to wind down and the long run commenced, that's when Benefield's car seemed to have come to life. We're going to have to see if he can duplicate that now. As on your screen, that's a 2-wide battle. That's Bryce Hoffman and Brian Branham, who, of course, was involved in that pacing incident due to the lag. Now with a fresh car and a fresh mindset, he is going to battle with that 21 car, and they're going to stay side by side all the way down the tri-oval.
Yeah, they are. They're going to be almost 2x2 right there lined up as the 24 gets loose behind him, but he's going to gather it back up as they're still going. I mean, oh, look at that crossover move there from the 21. He's going to try to get under the 74, but looks like it's not going to work. 74 is going to have the drive off as the 21 was trying to make a little bit of a crossover move. I saw him trying to make it work. Looks like he's going to try to dive his nose in there, but the 74 is just way clear of him. So yeah, good little battle right there for a second, but seems these guys have gathered up, but I don't know. The 21 seems like he's trying to make a run back down the front stretch.
but
And that
just don't think he
crossover
has
you
the momentum.
mentioned, that was a bold move for sure. He really dived it down in there and didn't quite get the momentum that he was expecting. Now he's kind of changed it up. Now he's looking to the high side, trying to poke his nose up there, and it's just nobody home, it seems like. So the car is very equally paced right now, and
Ooh, good
these
run,
guys
though.
are going to battle. But Preston McRae is sneaking up behind him, and he's bringing some others in tow. So if Bryce Hoffman and Brian Branham can't get this figured out, they're going to have company real soon. Here's the 53, Preston McRae, joining the battle.
Ooh. Yeah, the 21's just, that wasn't a good drive. He drove it really hard down there, and he was starting to get a little bit loose on him down towards that apron. So the 74 just got really clever. Like you said, the 53 of Preston McRae is going to capitalize off this soon if the 21 keeps opening that door.
And Preston, one of the cars that definitely, I think we pointed out, he had a long run setup. He was coming to life towards the end of that first stage. Now he seems to have some short run speed. He is gaining on these cars, mainly due to the fact that they're battling. But of course, still, that car is showing incredible pace as they go too wide again. Some side drafting from the 21 car. He's going to drive him all the way up to that outside safer barrier. Now he's going to drive it down the banking, get a little bit loose. That's going to be the momentum loss that Brian Branham was hoping to see, as the 74 is going to pull back ahead a little bit. But he's not home free. That 21 is sticking to his bumper like glue, man. He ain't going anywhere just yet.
Thought he was going to turn himself there for a second when he came across the nose of the 21, but just a little bit more clear than what my eyes saw, but they're still racing hard here. That 21 gets the drive off of 1 and 2 so hard, but he's got to be eating up those tires, driving it off, 1 and 2 as hard as he is getting those runs.
Yeah, the right front tire is definitely something you got to pay attention to at this track. You can really burn it up if you have a tighter setup, or of course, if you have a loose setup, you're burning up your right rear. So either way, you really got to pay attention to your tire wears. Man, the 21 car almost throws a slider on the 74. I thought they were going to make contact, but they settled it out, and these guys are still battling. It's on your screen right now. You're currently looking at the battle between Mason Lowry and Dustin Hall, the 1 and the 56. These guys have been side by side for just about as long as the 21 and the 74, and these guys, of course, battling it out for the 5th position. The one car taking that high line out of the corner, loses a little bit of ground in the center, and then he's going to get that huge run off, and he's not opting to side draft. Neither driver being too aggressive with the side drafts here. They're giving each other a lot of space. I would say being relatively courteous, as the 56 is going to gain some ground in the center there. Ooh, that's a little bit sideways.
What was that camera view? That was looked like it was cool at first, and then I was like, wait a second, that is so zoomed in, but hey, who cares? The one's got a big run coming back here, coming into turn 1. Is you see he likes to run that middle lane coming out of 3, and what he's doing is he's getting that, he's sucking up on the back right of that quarter panel, and he's really pulling the air off the 56 car, and that just pulls him through the turn, and you get such a good run when you're in the middle lane. You don't ever lift off the throttle, or when you're up the track, maybe not the middle lane per se, but you get a lot more throttle input, you get to stay in it more, and sets up these big runs. He did it this last time. Let's see if he can get up to the 56 and try to get by him again with a good side draft. He's been good at it all night, but seems like the 56 of Mason Lowry's gotten past him and seemed to settle into that position.
I don't think this battle's over yet. I think the issue with the one car during that battle was that he was trapped on the high side. He really didn't have anywhere to go. He kind of had to run that high line and try to make it work as best as he could. He couldn't move down low. He couldn't really run the mid lane like he might want to. Now that he's fallen back and he can run his preferred lane, he is actually closing the gap back up to the 56. You can see when they go into the corner, the one car seems to stay in the throttle just a little bit longer. He drives it in a little bit deeper, and he closes that gap ever so slightly, and then coming out of the corner, that's where he struggles, because the deeper you drive it in, the more momentum you have coming out that you have to try and tame. Otherwise, you're going to hit that outside wall or get loose or any number of bad things. You got to be careful with your exit speed here. But the one car is doing a fantastic job managing that. He is right back on the bumper of the 56. Yeah. Now there diving down low. They're side by side again, Tosh.
Is he going to clear him? Oh, man, it looks like it might be a slide job here from the one. Oh, yeah, he's drove way past him in that bottom lane. A big clear there on Mason Lowry. So, yeah, just a demanding overtake right there. He said, hey, get out of my way, buddy. Let me show you how it's done. That was a pass right there by Dustin Hall, because he was really putting it down there and wheeling that thing on the bottom lane.
And I would expect no less from Team Conti. Definitely, I think, the most anticipated newcomers to the league. Team Conti, I think everybody had some pretty high expectations of them. A lot of talent behind the wheel, a lot of talent in the garage making these setups, and a lot of great people backing this team. And of course, you expect them to get some great results, and here they are on the track, putting their performance where their mouth is. They are running really, really well. And that one car, man, once he was able to take the preferred lane and run the bottom, he went right around that 56, like you said, a commanding overtake, and now pulling away from the 56. So maybe a bit of a longer run setup for Dustin Hall in that number one machine.
Yeah, and it looks like Bryce Hoffman's starting to close in on Mason Lowry too as well. So maybe there's a little bit going on with Mason Lowry's car because he seems to be falling off the pace he was setting a little bit earlier in the race. But let's hope he can find a remedy for those problems. And is he starting to fall off pace a little bit?
Quite possibly overheated his tires there, Josh. I mean, you got to think he was battling with that one car for a good number of laps, and he was running the bottom. And when you're on the bottom, you really got to crank that steering wheel and give it a lot of input. And when you do that, you're scuffing those tires and you're heating them up and you're scraping them up, and it's just not good in terms of conservation. So quite possibly use his equipment up pretty quick right there. If he backs it off a little bit and takes it easy for a few laps, he could probably cool it all down and get it figured out. But right now, you're riding on board with Kevin Steele, beautiful Sunoco number 24, as he is making his way around the track. He is right behind, trying to find him on track here.
That is Tim
right
Rail.
Behind Tim Rail, yes, thank you. Right behind Tim Rail and Ryan McDaniel, who, again, Ryan McDaniel, one of the drivers involved in the caution incident. This is going to be a battle right here. The 24 with a huge run right there, Josh.
Yeah, I thought he was going to get up to the back bumper of that 99 right there and send him on a rod that wasn't going to get a free reset because that got close.
Yeah, that closing rate was absolutely absurd. I mean, just look how deep he's sending into the corner here. He goes in, the 99's taking a higher entry, but he's also lifting a little bit earlier, so not really getting the benefit of running the high side, where usually when you run up there, you stay in the throttle a little bit longer. You try to slingshot your momentum around that top lane. Ryan McDaniel's car maybe not comfortable enough to do that, so he's kind of taking it easy. 24 is going to get around him, no problem. Now his sight's set on Tim Rail on that 17 Red Robin machine, and we're going to take a look at a replay here as something happened on pit road. I think that's Samuelson in the 16. Let's see what happened here, Josh. Coming down pit road, and he's gone.
Vanished. Oh, and he's back. Did he tow back?
Yeah, I'm getting word he took a tow, it seems like. So not sure what happened to Samuelson. Possibly some linking issues. He opted to tow the car rather than put other drivers at risk with the lag issues. Back towards the front of the field, looks like Bryson doesn't have it as easy as he had in the first stage, because Adam Benefiel, he's not giving him that 3-second gap that he gave him before. Now he is riding about 10 car lengths back from your leader, and he's maintaining that gap. And I'm watching the 83, and I'm watching how that car is going through the corner, and it seems like Adam Benefiel is really taking a bit of a conservative line and really not burning that equipment up. It seems like he's kind of just taking it easy right now, it looks like, Josh.
Yeah, you are correct. And right behind them, I want to point out Cameron Stone and Jonathan Delaney. They're also getting into a little bit of a heated battle right here. I've been watching Jonathan Delaney slowly pull up these last couple laps, and it seems like he's really starting to put the pressure on Cameron Stone. As I say that, Cameron Stone gets a big run out of turn 2, but Jonathan Delaney's been pulling up to him right here in 3, so let's see how this battle goes on and if he can get the pressure put on him. Because this is a fight for the last podium position, so.
You got to think this is definitely not where Cameron Stone probably expected to be before all of these issues, because when this initial session had ended due to the rain delay, he was a little bit further back. He was running about P7, and the car didn't seem to be working in his favor. Like, he just was kind of fighting that thing, and the setup wasn't where he wanted it. But now he's up in the podium position, running on par with the leaders. I mean, last time around for Cameron Stone, it was a 41.487. For Adam Benefiel, it was a 41.6. So 0.2 faster last time around than Benefiel, and 1/10 faster than Bryson Nixonboss. So of the top 3, Cameron Stone was the fastest, with John Delaney running similar lap times. These two seem to have figured something out in this second stage, and they are closing in on the leaders.
Yeah, it's nice to see that these guys starting to understand this track a little bit more. And like we were talking about earlier, this the red flag, caution, all that situation really threw a wrench in a lot of guys' strategy, and it really set them back in the field and brought some guys that were kind of looking for some hope, looking for a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, brought them back up here to the front, and they've taken that experience they learned in traffic earlier, and you can see that they're really letting it show, because these guys are getting back up to the leader fast.
Absolutely. They are really wheeling these things around the track. 41.5 for Cameron Stone, 41.5 for Adam Benefield, 41.5 for Bryson. So a lot of parity in the lap times there. John Delaney, the odd one out that time, he was faster than all of the cars ahead of him by about a tenth. So really not quite as much separation as we saw in stage one. I think as this race has gone on, these drivers have gotten in the rhythm and they figured out their car. Like you said, Josh, you made a good point where they're kind of learning the track as they go and they're getting a feel for the car. And you know as well as I do, Josh, every session and every time you load into a track in this simulator, it always seems to feel a little bit different, whether it's the track temperature, the air temperature, the wind, always a little bit of variation. And maybe this track temp or this session is treating these guys a little bit better than the first one.
Yeah, it seems to be something because for sure, like we pointed out earlier, these guys were falling back a little bit. Cameron Stone, like you said, was around the 10th, 11th position, and Adam Benefield was actually a lap down. So it's definitely helped a lot of these guys, and it seems like they've fixed what was the problem in our first session and brought it over from the rain delay, brought it over from the red flag, and have for sure set a pace for themselves and really up the standard of their driving because these guys are putting it down. And like you said, they're willing it.
Absolutely. And looking back through the field, we do have a little bit of separation, but still the performance out of these cars that are a little bit further back is nothing to scoff at. You've got Dustin Hall with a 41.6, pretty great lap time there. Mason Lowry with a 41.7, Bryce Hoffman with a 41.9. So you can see the lap times falling off a little bit further back through the grid, but not by much. I mean, all of these guys running relatively on cars. Now you're looking on the back bumper of the 57 as Jonathan Delaney is absolutely challenging Cameron Stone. He is there. He's on the hunt. He's just waiting for an opportunity to present itself.
Yeah, and he's going to be in the draft right here, so I don't think he's going to try to take it in a 3 unless he tries to outbreak the 57, but I don't think he would. Yeah, it looks like he's just going to hold back. So let's see if he tries to make a move at him coming out of turn 4 here down the front stretch into 1 because it seems like he's got a little bit of a better drive off out that turn 4. So let's see. I don't know. He might not be close enough still. I don't know. Yeah, he's starting to get close. He might go to the outside here, maybe fake the outside, drop to the inside. Yeah, it looks like that's what he's going to do. Maybe not. Nah, looks like the 57 is going to shut that door real quick. So he had that idea, but the 57 knew what was up before the 9 tried to make that move.
Well, it might be more beneficial for these two to actually work together. We talked about teamwork. These guys aren't teammates by any means. They are on completely separate teams, but they are friends off the track. They are known to work together occasionally. And these guys were gaining on the leaders quite a bit. So if they work together, if they draft together, get a little bit extra straightaway speed in doing so, they could close this gap.
They're... Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say they're only a second off of Adam Benefield, so that further, proves your point of them working together. I could see that happening here. The 57 and the 9 do seem to be on the same kind of pace. You see the 9's got a little bit more drive out of the corners than the 57, and that's why he was easily able to pass the 57, but if they are able to get linked up here on the back stretches, the 57 seems to be falling back slower and slower, then I don't see any problem why they shouldn't be able to catch Adam Benefield. Unless Adam Benefield's really falling off because of pace or unless he's just trying to save his equipment, he is starting to fall off a little bit, and Delaney and Cameron are starting to catch him.
Absolutely, and Cameron Stone came across the radio. He told Delaney, go ahead and take it. So he's letting the 9 car around. He knew that the 9 car was faster, but right now I think what he's focusing on is staying in tow of that 9 car, trying to stay in his tire tracks almost exactly to utilize the draft as best he can and kind of have that 9 car pull him around this track, and hopefully they can catch up to the cars ahead, which is what he's hoping. But right now, I'm not sure he's going to be able to stay in the draft with that 9. That 9 car is on a whole nother level. It was a 41.8 last time around for Cameron Stone and a 41.6 flat for Jonathan Delaney. The cars ahead of Jonathan Delaney both ran 41.7s last time around. So Delaney a 10th of a second faster per lap than the leaders, although he just got a little bit loose on exit of 4 right there. Going to sacrifice some speed there as Cameron Stone comes on the radio and compliments John's save there as he got a little bit loose. But if he can keep this momentum up, I think we might have a battle before the end of the stage.
Yeah, and speaking of battles, I was looking back further in the pack. I'm riding on board right now with the 99 Brian McDaniel. I'm watching him. He's got a massive run out of turn 4, pulling up onto the 13 of Cody Bird, and almost lost it coming off the wall. But, I mean, goodness gracious, the run he had before he almost lost it was insane. If he can plant that down, he could make some moves with that car.
Absolutely, and it is about keeping it planted, making sure your car is steady, not making any mistakes, not having to correct it, not sliding too much, because the more you slide, the more speed you're giving up. So, really, this track Auto Club is one of consistency. You have to be consistent. You have to be perfect, because it is very easy to sacrifice a lot of time scrubbing your tires, sending it into the corner a little bit too deep, getting on the throttle a little bit too early, and they got to be cautious of that. But John Delaney, even after that slight mishap, a little bobble coming out of turn 4, he's still running really great lap times. 41.7 last time around for him. Adam Benefield was 41.8, 41.7 for the leader, Bryson Hixenbaugh. So definitely, I think these guys are going to close up in relativity here, with the paces being what they are. And Cameron Stone, man, he is kind of fallen off. He's running a 42 flat last time around. Seems like the car is fighting him at every single step. He comes out of the corner, and it looks like it's trying to get loose. He goes into the corner, and it looks like it's getting tight. So not exactly what Cameron Stone was hoping for out of that 57 machine, I'm sure.
Yeah, and it looks like we have Brian Branham down pit road right now. So the 74 is going to be making his first cycles of pit stop here after our red flags. This is going to be our first time seeing green flag stops. It's nice to say that again. It feels like it was forever that we were at a red flag, and good to see these guys back in action as Brian's going to go ahead and pull into his pit stall, and let's see if we got any takers that are going to follow up on that.
About 2 laps sooner than the first.
Cameron Stone pitting right now.
Here comes the 57, as you said. He's going to lock it up. Man, maybe the pit road issues continuing from last season for the 57 as he got a huge lockup. Bryson Hixenbaugh opting to stay out on the track. Here comes Brian Branham trying to rejoin. Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised that the pit sequence started as soon as it did. In stage 1, obviously, everybody started making their way down pit road around lap 30. This time it was only lap 28, so I'm not sure if these guys are expecting this race to be called at halfway, if they're expecting more server issues, or as we call it, more rain, and maybe that's why they're pitting so early, or maybe they just want to get on fresh tires, and they knew from the first stage that 30 laps was a little bit too long. Guess time will tell on that, but a lot of split strategies. Some guys staying out, some guys already making their way down.
Well, like we were talking about earlier, you learn a lot from that first stage, as we see the 99 of Ryan McDaniel also is coming down pit road right now, but you learn a lot from that first stage. So maybe some of these guys saw that their setups weren't comfortable, in that late run. You were talking about Cameron Stone, like he was already starting to have problems with his car's handling. He was one of the takers down pit road first. So, maybe he learned his car isn't as good in the late run as, Bryson Hixenbaugh or Adam Benefield. And speaking of Bryson Hixenbaugh, he's going to pull it down pit lane, and so is Jonathan Delaney, and so is Adam Benefield. So our 3 leaders coming down pit road. So it looks like Cameron Stone and Brian Branham was on a little bit of an undercut right there. So just the big brains doing their thing, because here they come around. They're going to get back on that lead lap, and it's like they're on a little bit of an undercut.
And looks like Dustin Hall is going to be among the drivers to make their way down pit road. He had a bit of a scary moment, Dustin Hall, when he transitioned from the track surface to the apron. Got a little bit loose. He got sideways, left some tire marks, smoked up the tires, but I believe he got it woed up in time, so he's going to make his way into his pit stall, as does Bryce Hoffman, Mason Lowry, let's see, who else? Chad Edwards. We got Tim Rail on pit road. Pretty much everybody. We got John Delaney, who has opted to stay out. He has inherited the lead, so he's going to go ahead and lead a lap, and he is really still on par with his lap times. I mean, last time around it was a 41.7, which for 32-lap-old tires is pretty impressive. So I could definitely see maybe he's feeling comfortable with that car in the long run. I say that he gets really loose coming out of turn 2. Man, oh man, maybe not so comfortable. But here comes Cameron Stone on those fresh tires. He's going to unlap himself, as is Bryson Hixenbaugh in front of him. So a lot of position swapping, a lot of jumbling up with this pit sequence.
Yeah, and definitely didn't expect him to take tires this early. I mean, we saw these guys stay out about lap 35, 40 on the first green flag stop. So as Bryson Hixenbaugh got a little bit of a blink there, but he seems to gather it back up. But yeah, these guys definitely came in a lot earlier this time. Like we were saying, probably learned a lot from that first session and said, hey, we ain't doing that again. I'm not going that long. They were playing a game of chess the first time. Now it's just all a game of wits. They just know, hey, we're not that stupid. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, hey, you won't, because I'm taking tires this time.
And there was a battle between the 63 and the 57 as Bryson Hixenbaugh, Cameron Stone, it may essentially be the battle for the lead once everything cycles out. Cameron Stone was all the way back in 4th before this sequence began. Bryson Ixabal was leading, and there was quite a gap between them. Now, after the sequence, that gap is gone as they're going to enter turn 1 side by side, making their way around Damaris Hickenbottom, who took the top lane. And this battle is really seeming to heat up. They swapped position a few times. It seems like Cameron Stone is a little bit better on corner exit, but Bryson is able to drive it in really deep. So they've been kind of swapping positions back and forth. There's a little bit more
Oh,
traffic
they're
in
coming
front
up
of
on
him.
the car, yeah.
And Fields in the 66. He's going to steer clear out of the way. Good job by him. And man, these guys are not giving an inch.
Yeah, they are not even for lap cars. They're passing them, or not lap cars, excuse me, for the slower guys out there on the older tires. I didn't mean to say lap cars, but you know what I mean. They're just moving past people, man. These guys are on a mission. They're racing each other. It's like Days of Thunder when they're racing the rental cars and they're just hitting each other, knocking everything out the way. They don't care. They're just racing in sight. That's all it is. And that's what I love about it, man. Did you see the 63? He's got or we're not looking at the 63 right now, excuse me, but the 63 is getting a massive run on the 57 right now into turn 3, and he's going to clear the 57 of Cameron Stone.
Yeah, he is going to get back ahead of him, but not for long. Here comes that 57 with a huge run out of the corner. He's going to attempt the crossover. Not quite going to get to the quarter panel yet, but man, they have just swapped that 8th position more times than I can count, although now they're up to 6th with all of the cars that have pitted. And just back and forth, it seems like their cars are strong at different points in the track. The huge run through the center from the 63, but he's going to have to be careful because that momentum coming out of the corner is going to be something to handle. And of course, Bryson coming across the radio, he just said, "I think I wrecked my tires in 4 laps," which is easy to do when you're battling that hard.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely at a track like Auto Club, it can definitely be hard. We're gonna see Wayne Grass come down the pit lane this time, so he will be pitting. It's only person that hasn't pitted is Demarius Higginbotham and Cody Bird. Those are the only 2 people that are going to be still out and not pitting once Wayne comes down pit road. And like you said, Bryson and Cameron, they are fighting for the lead right now, but it looks like Bryson's already starting to establish that dominance. Once these guys, yeah, Wayne coming down pit road now, so Cody Bird and Demarius Higginbotham, only 2 guys that haven't came down pit road yet. So can't talk. Interesting to see what Cody and Demarius do. Goodness.
Yeah, it's gonna be kind of difficult for them, I think, with how long they've stayed out. The tires are definitely pretty far gone at this point. I gotta imagine their lap times have deteriorated as this race has gone on, and once they come into pit and get fresh tires, that time is going to really affect them. But Bryson Hickenbottom right now, he's running P3, although once it cycles out, that's essentially the lead, and he is now pulling away from 57, who he was battling so hard with. So they're going to be kind of in their own little world for now, but right now, Cody Bird, it looks like he is still opting to stay out on the track in that number 13 machine. He is going to cross the line now for lap 38, it would appear. And we're getting close to that halfway point. Lap 40, of course, is the halfway point. If we have any more server issues, the race will be official. It'll be called, it'll be official. So it looks like we are going to make that lap 40 goal. That is good to see. But really curious as to Cody Bird's strategy, man. He, looks like a car is going to cut up in front of him there with those fresher tires, but he seems to be committed to this long run strategy for sure.
Yeah, he's probably sitting there with the lag switch, waiting for lap 40, and as soon as it hits, he's gonna flip it and be like, haha, easy win. Nah, just kidding. But Cody, yeah, he's definitely staying out. Maybe hoping that these guys do get some get a little bit of trouble here. We get another bit of a rain delay, maybe. If we get, like you said, if we do get to lap 40 and we have server issues, this race will be official. So Cody Bird, maybe living on a prayer, or who knows.
And it just happened right now. Adam Benefield got around the 57, so he is now up into P3, and he has his sights set on Bryson Hickenbottom. I'll tell you what, Bryson, he might have some trouble on his hands soon, because last time around for Bryson, it was a 40.57. For Adam Benefield, it was a 40.45, so a tenth of a second quicker, and that was while he was passing another car. That 83 machine, Adam Benefield, is on a rail right now, and he is quickly gaining on Hickenbottom. Once Cody Bird makes his way down pit road, Hickenbottom is going to be the leader. Adam Benefield is going to be P2, and so essentially what we have right now, Josh, is a battle for the lead brewing.
Yeah, you are correct, and it looks like that 83 definitely does have a lot more drive out of the turn. Bryson might not be lying, or he could be trying to throw a wrench in everybody else's, strategies they got cooking in their head, thinking, oh, is Bryson's tires really falling off? Should I push hard now because his tires are falling off? Maybe his tires haven't even fallen off. He could be lying for all we know, playing the trick strategies. Who knows? But the 83 does look like he's starting to get a little bit of a run off of turn 3 and 4 every time and get a little bit closer to that 63. But we'll see.
And it sounds like, coming over the radio, the reason that Cody Bird has opted to stay out so long is he's hoping for more rain. If we were to get another rain delay and this race were to be called right now, Cody Bird is the winner. Of course, he would have to have something like that happen very soon because he cannot stay out on the track much longer. Those tires have got to be getting to be on their last legs. His fuel has got to be running dry. And the other side of the coin for this, Josh, is that if he doesn't get any more rain, if there is no delay, if the race is not called, and he has to come down pit road under green, he has lost nearly, I would say, 30 to 40 seconds worth of time on these guys that had fresh tires. So nearly a whole lap down, I would assume, by the time he gets serviced and gets back out on track. So definitely high risk, high reward for the driver of that 13. Unfortunately, me personally, if I'm making predictions, I don't see it paying off. The server issues seem to have cleared up. I haven't seen any blinking throughout the field. Bryson has blinked a time or two, but Bryson, well, I mean, he blinks in every session. So maybe not going to work out for the 13, but he's holding out hopes.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things. Once you're too committed now. You've got to stick with it because, like you said, if he was to pit now, I mean, he might go a lap down. So he's really put himself in that predicament. So let's see how it plays out for him.
Definitely a bold strategy, and he is still out there. I mean, 43 laps on those tires. And the viewer at home, to try to put it into perspective, how that car must be handling for him right now. Last time around, he ran a 42.3. That is nearly 2 seconds off of what you would be running on fresh tires. And the reason the lap time is slower is because that car is slip sliding around everywhere he goes. Every time he touches that steering wheel, that rear end is trying to kick out on him. Every time he gets on the throttle, those rear tires are spinning. That car is basically fighting him at this point at every single turn to try to wreck him. And he is just kind of maneuvering this car gently and as carefully as he can to make his way around the track, sacrificing a little bit of time here and there, so he can keep it going the right direction. And once he gets his fresh tires, obviously the car is going to handle how he wants it. But until then, he is fighting an absolute demon in that 13 machine. And I'm not sure, like I said, how much longer he can stay out.
Yeah, and Bryson Hixenbaugh is really cutting that pace up. I mean, he's making that, the gap, he's really slimming the gap up every lap, almost a second a lap on Cody Bird. So it's getting time for Cody that if this strategy don't work out for him in the next couple laps, he's definitely going to have to pit or it's going to be the freight train coming.
Yeah, it's gonna be something. There's the delta, of course, on the bottom right of your screen. You can see the difference between Bryson Hixenbaugh and Cody Bird. Pretty soon, I'm thinking Cody Bird is going to be pretty much passed up for the lead before he even comes down pit road. You can see Bryson Hixenbaugh coming into 3 and 4 right now. Cody Bird just exiting 3 and 4. So slowly but surely, Hixenbaugh catching up, and behind Hixenbaugh, you've got Adam Benefiel, who has been kind of following in the tire tracks of that 63. Behind him, you got a lap car, Dalton Mobley, and it's a ways back. You got to look before you get to Cameron Stone in P4 right now. P5, Jonathan Delaney, who he had a lot of speed before this pit sequence, Josh, and now seems like maybe that car isn't handling as good as it was before. Maybe went the wrong way on some adjustments. It was a 40.8 last time around for John, and the cars ahead were all running 41.2s, 41.3s, and just not quite on pace for John.
Yeah, not sure. He was, like you said, setting really fast pace, and especially when we came back from our first red flag restart, he was setting a pretty good pace up there, running with our leaders, and then it seems like he fell off pace, and it seems like Cody Bird is finally going to put an end to his connection strategy, his rain delay strategy. He's going to be coming in this time because if you look at Bryson Hixenbaugh right now, he's very close to catching Cody Bird, so it's probably about time to park the strategy and pull it in because he is going to lose a lot of time.
Yeah, that could honestly be kind of a race-ending blow if we don't get any more cautions, if he's not able to recover. But he is going to get a stage caution around lap
Whoa.
60, I believe.
Whoa.
So,
Is he gonna wreck it?
whoa! Yeah, that's an unsafe pit road entry if I've ever seen it, Josh.
Yeah, I would say he's gonna get one. If iRacing, if that was me, I'd for sure get one because iRacing loves to penalize me. But we'll see how they determine that because not sure. That could have been an unsafe pit entry for sure.
Yeah, I would imagine that's a penalty. So he's going to have to hope for more than just a stage caution at this point. And I can confirm Cody Bird handed a hold for 15 seconds, unsafe pit road entrance penalty. So he's going to have to make his way back down pit road a second time, probably losing an entire other lap in the process. So going upwards of 2 laps down. Not a good night so far for the driver of that 13. But Auto Club's a tough track. I mean, I don't think he can beat himself up too much. It's a tough track. Things like that happen, and it's a tough pit road entry. And of course, I think all of the drivers have faced things in this race that none of us really expected, and it kind of maybe threw them out of their rhythm a little bit. So there's a lot of racing left. We'll see what Cody Bird can do to maybe try and stage a comeback, salvage some points. But until then, it is Bryce Nixonbaugh who is back to the point as a familiar sight. He is pretty much, I think at the moment, the driver who's led the most laps of this race. And Adam Benefiel, again, similar to stage 1, it's about a 3.5 second gap, maybe not quite that much. It's about 1.1, I'm sorry, back to Adam Benefiel. And he's maintaining that gap. He's been kind of riding in place behind Hixenbaugh. The question is, who has the better long-run car? Can the 83 try to close that gap up as this run goes on? Or maybe pull some pit strategy to close that gap?
We know that Team Conti car is going to be fast no matter what stage we're in, what part of the race we're in. It's just depending now, I feel like, on strategy. He set himself up. I mean, he had the early unfortunate, a turn of events before we had the red flag pop out, but he's been able to remake up for it. He's back up here in P2, and I definitely think he's setting himself up for the long run. I mean, he's only a second off of our leader, Bryson, so I think he's just really setting it up for the late run, and I think he's going to rely on pit strategy to win him this race because he's proven that he has a fast race car, and I think if he gets up there with the 63, he can definitely mix it up with him.
I agree 100%. And looking back through the field, a lot of separation as you tend to see with these green flag pit sequences. Right now I'm looking at Brandon Pierce, who is kind of engaged in battle with Tim Rail, who are kind of, they were side by side for a little while. Now they're kind of, I guess, gapping each other. It looks like the 38 has a huge run coming out of the corner. Last time around for Brandon Pierce, it was a 41.9, and for Tim Rail, it was a 42.3. So 0.4 of a second faster for that 38 machine. And Damaris Hickenbottom, who is now kind of in battle with that 17. Difference between those guys, 42.3 to a 42.3. So very close in pace. Damaris 1 lap down, unfortunately, so it's not for position. But yeah, just a lot of separation right now after this green flag pit sequence.
Yeah, for sure. We do have a lot of separation. It's starting to look like the first stage that we had prior in the yesterday's race, so it's looking pretty good. Guys are starting to cycle out. They're starting to get back into that flow before we went to that red flag. So it's good to see that everything's starting to settle back out here. I was excited to see what the race was going to settle into after that first green flag stop. But then we had all the issues, and it really threw a wrench in some of these guys' strategy, and it really helped a lot of guys, as we've said. And now it's getting ready to go do another green flag pit stop here soon after, we're going to be going to the stage here soon, and then once we get these guys racked back up, I'm excited to see how aggressive these guys get, or if they lay back a little bit and seem to want to hang out and save their equipment a little bit more. I'm excited to see what Dustin Hall and Adam Benefield do. I feel like if these guys can get another chance to get back up there, especially Jonathan Delaney too, even Cameron Stone, our top 5 guys really at that, if all of them can get another shot at it, I feel like any of those 5 cars have a shot at winning it tonight. So it's just going to be fun when we get these guys racked back up to see how aggressive or passive aggressive they go. As Brian Branham said, he's going to be pitting in this time.
And right now I'm looking at the leader, Bryce Nixonbaugh, navigating lap traffic. Ryan McDaniel in that 99 car checked up the leader just a little bit. Fortunately, Adam Benefield wasn't really able to capitalize because he himself was racing around Cody Bird. So this lap traffic definitely causing a bit of a jumble up here at the front of the field. I think Adam Benefield is a little bit quicker right now than Hixenbaugh. Last time around for Benefield, 41.709. For your leader, Bryson Hixenbaugh, it was a 41.791. So just a tick faster, but time is not on his side. We're on lap 55 out of 60 for the stage before we go into our 80 lap final stage. And if he wants to get to the leader, he's going to have to close the gap a little bit quicker than that. Right now, the leader getting passed up by the 13 who has massively fresher tires. He is a couple laps down after his penalties and such, but his tires are pretty much fresh, so he's going to be faster pretty much until the end of the stage. And battle to watch is Adam Benefield trying to reel in the leader, Bryson Hixenbaugh.
Oh yeah, it's definitely going to be a battle here once we get this stage called. These guys are not going to have to worry about that lap traffic anymore. It's going to be the race off pit road after that, and then we're going to see some awesome racing, man. I'm really excited to get to this stage, to the end of this stage. It's going to be one heck of a restart, and it's going to be fun to watch. But like you said, Bryson Hixenbaugh and Adam Benefield are dishing it out right now. We do have 4 to go before this stage is over. And he seems to be closing that gap slowly but surely. He's not there yet. Close with no cigar.
Yeah, he's going to have to close that gap up faster like you'd mentioned. And it seems like he is slowly gaining momentum. I mean, 41.719 last time. This time, 41.6. So a tenth of a second faster that time and a tenth of a second faster than the leader. If he could just get a little bit closer, get within drafting range, he might be able to catch the leader by the end of the stage. But as we said earlier, catching somebody's one thing, passing them is a whole other thing. But what this tells me is that Adam Benefield is going to be a force in stage 3, because stage 3, a little bit longer than this stage. It's going to be 20 more laps than what we saw in stage 1 and 2, 80 entire laps. And Adam Benefield, his car seems to come to life on these longer runs. And he is closing the gap ever so slightly, as he has been throughout this entire stage. If he has a little bit more time in stage 3, I think he could easily get up there and dice it up with the leader.
One thing I can say is, you always hear the leaders saying their cars are so bad in dirty air, and people always say, they got the best setups out there. Is because you have to think, these guys aren't meant to be passing. They're supposed to be in the lead from the start. That's what they expect. So when you get these guys like Adam Benefield and Jonathan Delaney, these fast race cars that are fast on their own, when they get in traffic, it's very hard to pass each other because those cars aren't used to being in dirty air. I know it sounds funny, but you have to think about it. These guys aren't building race cars to be in 15th, 17th, 18th place passing. They're building race cars to be in the front and stay in the front. So it's kind of tricky once they get these really fast, aerodynamic sensitive race cars up around each other. They just sometimes don't want to do what you want them to do, and it can be a handful.
Lap 59 out of 60 for the stage, and race control came across the radio. Pit road is closed. So these guys are going to have to stay out on track, duke it out till the end of the stage. And you're right, Josh. When these guys make these setups, they're in test sessions by themselves or with very few other teammates, and they're building these cars to be as fast as possible on their own. And you can't really, even if you wanted to, you can't really account for dirty air because the way these cars are, how aerosensitive they are, with the big spoilers, the big splitters, the ground force that the chassis create, it's always going to be disturbed by the cars in front of you. And there's not a whole lot you can do within the realms of the rule book that is going to be able to counteract that. So you kind of just have to do your best to fight through it, as Bryson Hixenbaugh has crossed the line for lap 60. Once enough cars have crossed the line, the race control will call the stage 2 caution. But yeah, you have to, I guess we have to finish lap 60, I apologize. But yeah, you have to just try to deal with the dirty air. It's difficult to do. But, I mean, these guys, if anybody could do it, it's these guys. Like I said, a lot of talent through this field.
And yeah, as we say that, we're going to look on board with the number 63 of Bryson Hixenbaugh, as he's going to bring us to lap 60 and the end of lap 61, and the end of stage number 2 here at Auto Club. He's going to be your winner of stage number 2, that 63 Chevy Camaro. Adam Benefield going to come in at 2nd, Jonathan Delaney 3rd, Cameron Stone 4th, and it looks like Dustin Hall is going to come across and round out at 5th place of stage 2. So yeah, it's a little bit of a spaced out racing there. These guys definitely were getting up nose to nose, door to door there at the start, but they seem to wanted to lay back and maybe save the equipment for this last stage, these last 80 laps we're about to have here. Because I feel like it's going to be a lot of door banging as you see the officials throwing that caution flag. They don't pay those iRacing flagmen enough.
Absolutely not. And Jonathan Delaney making his way up to P3 for that stage definitely surprised me. It seemed like his car was kind of fading after that first green flag stop, and then maybe he found something. He got that car where he wanted it, made his way up to a podium finishing position, gathering up more ever so useful points for his P3 finish in that stage. And if he can have a good pit stop and he can pretty much restart where he is right now, that's a pretty good spot to be. Inside row 2, bottom lane. I mean, other than being in the lead, I'd say that's the next best spot to be. So Jonathan Delaney putting himself in a great spot with his performance in stage 2. Now, these drivers got to make sure that they get down pit road, get their car serviced, and don't make any mistakes. Don't speed. Don't slide past your stall. And for God's sake, make sure that you click that fueling box.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've definitely unclicked fuel before. And you ever remember the fuel bug? I don't know if it's still a thing, but where you would get stuck infinitely fueling in the pit road. Man, glad that that's not that much of an issue anymore. Because if you get stuck here and that, oh man, a lot of these drivers are going to be punching their setups. But here they come. All of our leaders are going to come down pit road. It seems like everybody is for sure going to take 4 tires and fuel. I wouldn't think any other way about it. So after this pit stop, we should have what, 1-2 more, you think, stops? Maybe one more?
I would say it depends on the strategy. I think with it being 80 laps in stage 3, that opens the door to probably 2 different strategies. You could try to do it in one stop. As we saw, Cody Bird went well beyond 40 laps, which would be the halfway mark of stage 3. So they could pit around lap 40, split the stage in half and pit once, or they could pit once at lap 25, another time at lap 50 of the stage, and then drive it to the end, and they would have fresher tires than the rest of the field the entire time. The question is, would they be able to make up enough time on those fresh tires with that two-stop strategy to make up for the time that they would lose from the guys that only pit once? That would be the question. And making their way out of pit road, looks like Jonathan Delaney picked up a spot. He's going to be second out of pit road, right behind leader Bryson Nixonbaugh.
And Cameron Stone also benefited right there up to P4. So he was in P5 coming in. Mason Murray is in P5. So let's see if we can bring him in. Let's see
if I can find Mr. Hicksonbaugh. I got him. I'll drag him in here. If I can get him. Hold on. Apologize. Bryson Nixonbaugh, you got a copy?
Yeah, I do.
Well, you won stage 1, you won stage 2, and your car is looking pretty dominant out there. How you feeling about this race so far?
Feeling pretty good. It's a little bit closer this time by instead of the first stage. Adam said that they made a few adjustments, so they closed it up. But still rolling good out here. We'll see how it goes with this last stage with longer runs. And maybe John gets back up here because he was catching a lot. And short run, Adam, I think, could have a shot at it.
All right, so you're expecting a little bit tougher competition in stage 3. Definitely what we were kind of expecting as well. It definitely looked like everything was closing up. But the pace car lights are going to be coming off pretty quick, so we're going to let you get back to your team chat. Thanks for your time, Bryson, and good luck going forward. Hopefully we're talking to you at the end of the race.
Thanks, guys. Hope to be talking to you.
And we're going to bring him back up to his team chat. That was your stage 2 winner, Bryson Nixonbaugh.
Yeah, Bryson seems to be on a tear this week. Really trying to make up some ground for last week at Daytona. So,
absolutely,
I like to see that. Come out, win stage 1, come out, win stage 2. Really putting down the dominance, showing that he's not here to play around. He's not here to let other people win stages. Auto Club is his. Let's see if he can sweep it. I'm really excited to see if Bryson can hold it down for stage 3. Because that 63 Chevy Camaro, man, that hot rod has been tuned up. It is bad fast night. And I know that 83 of Adam Benefield behind him. You heard him say it. They've made some adjustments. So that Conti team is probably very, very excited for the 83 going forward. I definitely can see him making some ground here.
I find it interesting. Bryson was kind of seeing the same thing that we're seeing up in the booth. He saw the competition tightening up. He saw these guys working on their cars and just closing the gap in pace. And I think stage 3 is definitely going to be a little bit more competitive. If we had more time, I was going to ask Bryson about strategy, but right now he's getting on the loud pedal. The pace car is off the track, and a huge jump for your leader, Bryson Nixonbaugh. He's going to get way out ahead of the cars that are in tow. And side by side is going to be Jonathan Delaney and Adam Benefield.
And Cameron Stone's going to dive to the bottom with that 83 of Benefield, and it's going to make him clear, Delaney. And I called him Benefield. That is Benefield. He is going to clear the number 9 of Delaney. And Cameron Stone kind of hung himself out to dry there. He helped that 83 and kind of didn't have to drive himself. So he's going to tuck back in there behind the number 9 of Jonathan Delaney. So Adam Benefield getting a big run here to the 63 of Bryson Hixenbaugh. Man, this is starting to look like a little bit of a battle here. These fresh tires. Whoa, big wobble there from the 57 of Cameron Stone. He got down on the apron. He gathered it back up, but that's really going to put him off the pace. He's back to about 7th, 8th place now if he keeps getting passed by cars. But three-way battle right here for first.
It was a scary moment from the 83. You called it. He got way loose coming out of turn 4. He was able to gather it up pretty quick. Jonathan Delaney with a deep send into turns 1 and 2. He closed the gap hugely on Adam Benefield, and he kind of lost that on exit. So, man, oh man, just a lot of dicing for the lead up here early in the stage. And here comes the 83 at the bumper of the leader, Bryson Hixenbaugh. He has closed the gap entirely. And as we round turns 3 and 4, he is in attack mode. He has position. He's right there in the slipstream. Question is Bryson going to make a bobble? Is he going to open the door? And can Adam Benefield try to take advantage of that? Coming into turn 1 and 2, he's going to go down low. Side by side for the leader, Auto Club.
Oh, he's
Adam
clear.
Benefield is clear.
New leader. Did you hear driver chat, man? That was funny, man.
They're in the driver chat quoting Ricky Bobby for the viewers at home.
Man, that was good. Sorry, didn't mean to get a little bit giggly there, for the viewers. But man, if you could hear what I hear in driver chat, man, sometimes these guys are just hilarious. As Bryson isn't he's all jacked up on Mountain Dew Kip. He's getting a big run back to Adam Benefield right here, and he gave him a little bit of shove. It looked like coming out of turn 4. Maybe Adam just got a little bit loose, but hey, this is starting to get a little bit Rubbins racing right here. These guys are taking the gloves off, elbows out, and they've got those belts strapped tight. This is getting good.
Bryson's coming at Adam Benefield like a spider monkey, Chip. I mean, he just went full send through that corner, closed the gap up entirely. And honestly, I don't think this battle is over, and it's not going to be over anytime soon. These cars are so close in pace. We saw it all throughout stage 2 that their lap times remain nearly identical with only a little bit of variation here or there. Adam Benefield got a little bit loose in the middle of the corner there. His car had to slide up the corner. That gave Bryson Hixenbaugh a little bit of a chance to catch up and maybe make a move, but he backed out of it. Probably the safer play to make. And what's amazing to me right now, Josh, is that these guys are battling it out as hard as they are, and they're still pulling away from third place Jonathan Delaney.
Yeah, that just shows the pace advantage that Adam Benefield and Bryson Hixenbaugh brought to the track this week. These guys definitely worked on those setups, worked on those strategies, worked on just the pure driving ability all week because they definitely showed it up and were ready to race. These guys, no joke. Jonathan Delaney starting to figure out a little bit of that draft right there, maybe holding on for a little bit, but we'll see if he can catch up here and make this a little three-way battle, get it spiced up here. But hey, the 63 and the 83 are going at it right now. This is an awesome battle here for our league.
And as we ride on board with Bryson Hixenbaugh, you could see the 83 doing everything he could to break the draft. He would swerve down the straightaway, back up the straightaway, and he's doing that simply to prevent the second-place car from catching that slipstream and closing the gap down the straightaway. He wants Bryson to be as far behind him as he could possibly be when they go on entry of the corner. That way, Bryson isn't able to just drive it in a little bit deeper, outbrake him into the corner, and maybe get side by side just by kind of brute forcing the situation. What I'm noticing right now is that through turns 1 and 2, Adam Benefield has the advantage. He's a little bit quicker through 1 and 2. The car seems to be a little bit more planted. He can kind of apex the corner a little bit smoother than Bryson. He get right along that white line. But when they come through 3 and 4, it's Bryson Hixenbaugh who has the advantage. He gets a little bit more momentum coming out of that corner and closes the gap a little bit, only to lose it when they get back to turn 1. So 2 different cars that are fast at 2 different parts of the track.
Yeah, and it looks like Adam Benefield, once he's gotten on the lead, maybe Bryson, I'm not sure. Maybe he's now trying to save his equipment, not burn it up too much, Like we were talking about earlier in the race, you get 5, 6, 7 laps of hard racing side by side. Those tires get heated up very quick, and it's like I like to say it. It's almost like driving on mashed potatoes. It's just the tires are so mushy. It's like the car doesn't want to turn. It's just it doesn't feel right. That's what it feels like. It's just marshmallows, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. It just doesn't feel good. And these guys really, when they get that handful of, in their steering wheel, it's hard to get around the track, and it can really throw it off in your head and throw that rhythm off. So probably just trying to back off and save his equipment as much as he can, because the 83 of Adam Benefield is starting to slightly pull away every lap. And Bryson Hixenbaugh is going to have to find a remedy for those solution for those problems. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but hopefully he can get back up on pace here and give us a little bit of a battle, because that was fun to watch between him and Adam Benefield.
And you got to think, Josh, this is the first time that we have seen Adam Benefield in clean air out in the lead. So up until now, we really weren't sure what his car was capable of in the lead. We knew that we had an inkling of an idea that it was going to be pretty strong in the lead, because he was pretty much keeping pace with the leader, even though he was dealing with the dirty air. But now we can see for absolute certain that that car is a rocket ship in clean air. He got the lead. Bryson Hixenbaugh made a few swings at it. He tried to take that lead back. Unfortunately for him, the defense from Team Conti was just too great. That 83 machine was able to keep that lead, drive away with it, and not look back. I say not look back, but I'm pretty sure Adam Benefield's probably doing a little bit of mirror driving right now, with Bryson Hixenbaugh slowly closing the gap at the scene.
And right now we are currently following around our Daytona 500 winner, Kevin Steele. He is a little bit of a battle with the 7 car of Wayne Grass, so it seems like they're trying to dish it out for that 10th place spot. That's the 9th place spot, excuse me. So who wants to be on the bubble? Nobody ever wants to be in 10th place. I mean, you want to be at least, it's nice to get a top 10 when you can get a top 10, but if you can get 9th or 8th or 7th, it's always nice to reach for that one extra position. So I bet you right now, Wayne is just really trying to get up that one position to make himself feel a little bit better.
Absolutely. Every point counts, too. I mean, these guys, with the way the point system works, they got to gather up every point they can. And so they want to pass every car that they can. And, of course, Wayne Grassy now making a huge move down on the bottom. He's going to hug that white line. And, wow, he made that thing stick really well. He didn't scuff any speed away holding that bottom line like I would have thought he did. He's able to get now about a car length and a half advantage over Kevin Steele, Kevin Consistency Steele. I would say Kevin is really living up to his nickname this race. We call him Kevin Consistency Steele, and he's been pretty consistently right around the top 10 all night long. He hasn't really made any mistakes. He hasn't really found any massive amounts of speed. He's just been doing really well all night with no mistakes, and that is what he's known for. And that strategy works out for him a lot. I mean, you got to think, in a racing series that goes on for 36 races in a season, drivers are going to make mistakes. Drivers are going to have bad days. Drivers are going to wreck out. They're going to DNF. They're going to blow their engine. Things just aren't going to go their way. But with Kevin Steele being as consistent as he is, always finishing towards the front, always finishing races just about. They call him the Iron Man because he seems to always be there at the end. He gathers up those points, and you can win a championship on top 10s alone for sure. It was true back in the Winston points system, and it's definitely true now with the playoff system, as proven in the Truck Series just a couple years ago. So Kevin Steele putting on kind of a great performance tonight so far in Auto Club, and honestly, he's got plenty of racing left, plenty of time left. Try to find a little bit more in that car, maybe gain a few more spots.
Yeah, you are correct. I mean, it seems like we've got a lot of these guys starting to settle into that long run pace. We're probably going to go for sure one more pit stop. So it's going to be interesting to see when these guys start to come, when they don't start to go. Who's going to stay out, who's going to come in. It's going to be interesting. But looks like Adam Benefield slowly starting to get that gap, inching away at it. It's like he has a little Swiss Army knife, and he's just been cutting away at that tree for days and days. It's gonna fall eventually, not tomorrow, not next week, for sure. Who knows? But it'll get there. He's getting there. He's slowly chipping away though at that lead of Adam Benefield. So we'll see what Bryson's got for him, man. I'm really excited to see what this late race duel is gonna start bringing us. These guys showed us a little bit of action right there. Coming to that restart. See what they got when it comes down to it later in the race. I'm excited. This is going to be a good finish here at Auto Club.
Definitely exciting. We saw so much separation in Stage 1 and in Stage 2, and now in Stage 3, that separation isn't really as present. We've got 2 leaders right now, Bryson Hixenbaugh, Adam Benefield, who are so close in pace. They're keeping right with one another. And even though we are getting into this stage, I mean, we're a decent amount of laps in, about 20 laps into this stage now, they're still right there with one another. The long run speed, sometimes you see the long run start to separate these guys as, some guys' cars just aren't as good on the long run. But no, these two, they are so close. No matter where they are in the run, how long they've been on track, they're just right there with one another. One thing to note that I noticed that we hadn't mentioned yet, I guess we missed something happen with Matthew Gaskins, driver of the number 79. He's on pit road. A lot of damage to the rear end of that car, sitting in his pit stall right now. So something must have happened with him. He seems to be pretty much out of the race for now. Keep an eye on it if he gets back out on track. I'm not sure. But yeah, other than that, the battle for 9th place right now is something I'm keeping my eye on. Chad Edwards and Wayne Grassy, who you mentioned Wayne Grassy wanted to nab that extra spot. Well, he did. Now he's going after another one.
Yeah, indeed he is. We're riding on board with the number 1 at Dustin Hall right now, correct? Yeah.
Number 7 of Wayne Grassy, a little bit faster through 1 and 2, a little bit slower in 3 and 4. He kind of losing ground on Chad Edwards there, but on your screen right now, Dustin Hall. He is currently battling out with, I believe that's a 21 car, Bryce Hoffman. And again, 2 cars that are really close in pace. And ahead of them, you got Mason Lowry. So kind of a 3-car train here, 3-car battle for that 5th position. And it looks like Dustin might have gotten to the wall a little bit on a corner exit. Didn't affect him too much. Should be all right as he's going to send it into turns 3 and 4. A lot lower line. It's interesting to see, Josh, when you're going to the corner, all 3 of these guys are running a different line. Mason Lowry was running the highest line out of any of them. You had Bryce Hoffman somewhere in the middle, and then you had Dustin Hall in that number 1 car, straddling that white line, showing that speed that the Team Conti cars seem to have on the bottom. I mean, these cars are built to hug that bottom, and they do it really well. So if Dustin can get an opportunity to pass Bryce Hoffman, if Hoffman makes a bit of a bobble there, opens up the door at all, I fully expect Dustin Hall to be right there to pounce on that opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. These guys are getting into a little bit of a heated 3-way battle. And like you said, it seems like right here, turn 3, that 1 car just has so much more drive in than the 21 of Bryce Hoffman. And as you see right there, he's getting a little bit loose. He's going to gather it back up. He had to run on the 21 if he didn't get a little bit loose. But I didn't realize that you guys were looking at something completely different from me. But now you guys are riding on board with the 21. There we go. That's Bryce Hoffman. But yeah,
1 car, I think that 1 car might have overheated his tires. He's starting to lose a little bit of ground. You mentioned him getting loose through the corner, and now he is kind of losing ground to Bryce Hoffman. But right now, with a little bit of separation in the field and a lot of sort of methodical racing going on, I'd say right now is a good time to take in the sights and sounds with a Shano FX Overdrive. was your Shano FX Overdrive, taking in the sights and sounds of the gorgeous Auto Club Speedway. Right now, the battle for the lead pretty much remaining the same as it ever was. Bryson Ixenbaugh just a little bit in tow of the 83, the gap neither widening nor closing, although last time around, Bryson made a little bit of a bobble, so he lost a little bit of time for the first time pretty much all stage long. So a little bit of a bobble, kind of rare to see out of Bryson. But right now on your screen, you're looking at some side-by-side action. That's going to be Mason Lowry and Chad Edwards teammates. LMM going side by side. Chad Edwards is going to get a huge run through the corner. He's going to slide up in front of Mason Lowry, and he's going to seem to secure that position for himself. But the battle's not over for Mason, because here comes Wayne Grassy in that yellow number 7. He is going to get a huge run down low.
And they're pulling up on Chad Edwards with that big old run. As the 7's going to go too wide still with the 56, so they're still racing it out here. That's Wayne Grassy, and that is the 56 of Mason Lowry. So good little race right there between those two.
Absolutely. And on your screen right now, I believe that is the 57 of Cameron Stone, a driver who I'm sure is not having the day that he wanted to have. He's running P4 right now, which for any other driver is a very good place to be, very respectable position. But talking to Cam, he said that he put in over 700 laps of practice for this race. That is more than 3 times the full length of this race. He put in a load of practice, working on the setup, trying to get it just right. And he said if he didn't win, he was going to be sorely disappointed. He actually put it in a lot more graphic words, but we're going to keep it PG. And so he's not having the day he wanted, but he's got to take solace in the fact that a top 5 at a track as rough as Auto Club is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, 700 laps of practice. Hey, that is a lot, but hey, that just means he is dedicated, and Cameron can build off that, man. You don't let that get you down, and there's still a lot of race to go. We're only at lap 91 of 140, so there's still a little bit of this race left. I mean, he's still got it.
Absolutely.
In a good position.
With the pit strategy and any potential caution, because you got to think, and I'm going to knock on wood, I don't want to activate the commentator's curse here, but we have not had a caution for cause yet. We've had stage cautions, and we've had cautions due to drivers disconnecting, but we have not had a wreck. Other than Matthew Gaskins, who it appeared to be a single car incident. He was in his pit stall, sitting in pit road with a little bit of damage. No caution was called for him. This has been an entirely green flag race. No cautions for cause. You got to think we might be due for one pretty soon, and if that were to happen, I think Cameron Stone would be one of the biggest benefactors of that. He would be able to close the gap to the leaders, get racked up, and maybe make a run at it on a restart.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. I mean, he's shown strong pace, and he definitely was holding up there with our leader, earlier in the race. I just think he's, falling off in this run here a little bit. The cars maybe getting out from under him, but once they get this last stop or maybe another caution in, I feel like if they were to re-rack him, get a caution. The 57 is definitely going to be a dangerous car, but like I said, any of the top 5 can win right now. Every single car in our top 5 has at one point shown that they are bad fast and can run with each other. So it's going to be an interesting race if we get another caution and rack all these 5 cars back up. Man, it's going to be a little bit of a show.
Wise man once said, "It's not over till it's over." And honestly, I gotta say, I'm impressed at the fact that it has been green flag pretty much this entire race. No cautions for cause. It's something that you don't see very often. And it just really speaks to the skill level in this league and the drivers that are making their way around this track. The fact that we have been able to pretty much keep this thing green and clear this entire time and just race it out, which I'm sure is what the drivers want. I mean, staying green this long has its benefits and its drawbacks. The benefits being you get to stay in the groove. You get to keep making laps. You get to stay in the zone. You don't have any, too many pauses or restarts or breaks to worry about. Of course, we had a few breaks due to connection and whatnot, but the drawback is that it can be really tiring to stay green this long. Very exhausting to have these green flag runs, no cautions for cause, and you just got to be on the ball 24/7. So the stage cautions, I'm sure, are a bit of a blessing for these guys as well. But overall, benefits and drawbacks to staying green as long as we have.
Yeah, and as long as Cody Bird stayed out last time, it seems like he's going to be the first one that's going to try to hit around this time. So maybe trying to make up for some some lost time because he did stay out last time really long. So
Absolutely, it could be just a matter of, I tried the strategy of staying out. Now I'm gonna, it didn't work out for me, so I'm gonna do the opposite. It's probably what he's thinking, and that's kind of something you have to do in stock car racing and any race that's this long and this grueling. Is you have to kind of learn things throughout the race. You got to take note of what strategy worked, what strategy didn't. How does my car feel in a long run? How does my car feel in a short run? You got to take in all this information. You got to compile it, and you have to use that to your advantage. That is the key to having a successful race. And Cody Bird right now sliding into his pit stall. It's a clean entry for him. So on your screen right now, you're looking at the number 4 machine. That's Chad Edwards, who is currently running in P7. Wayne Grassy looked like he was going to try to get around Chad. Those two were a little bit closer a few laps ago, but now it looks like maybe Wayne Grassy's car falling a little bit off pace. It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, Wayne was really battling hard with Kevin Steele, Mason Lowry, even Bryce Hoffman. I think he got a little bit. And all that battling is going to use up the tires. But definitely it's been a great drive for Wayne Grassy. I mean, he's running the top 10 tonight, and he's had a mistake-free night. He's not made any mistakes. He has just been running his race and passing a lot of cars while he's doing it. I mean, he started a little bit further back in the grid, and he got around the Daytona 500 winner. Now he's got his sight on his sight set, if I can speak properly, on Chad Edwards. And yeah, great night for that yellow number 7 so far.
That's a big thing about these races is you were talking about in stock car racing, you have to learn it. I mean, that is also a big key. And another thing I think that adds to that is if you can keep your nose clean, as I say that, Bryson Hixenbaugh that was running P2 down pit lane, Cameron Stone as well. So, but these guys, if they can just take what they're learning, take everything, throw it all together, they're eventually going to understand these cars a lot better. I kind of got thrown off my train of thought when we were going on pit road, so I'm just going to hush up because I just had a brain fart and I cannot remember where I was going.
Been there, done that. I'm looking at the lap count right now. We're on lap 99. It was about lap 98 when Bryson dove into pit road. That's about 39 laps into the stage. So it looks like a lot of these drivers opting to just split it right in half. One stop right in the middle, and then take it to the end. If that's the case, then that kind of maybe spells his ass for the 83. As he's now making his way down to pit road. Adam Benefield is going to make his way towards his pit stall, and it doesn't seem like one lap would make much of a difference, but Bryson did come in 1 lap sooner, and that's about 2 seconds worth of time on fresh tires, and he wasn't quite 2 seconds back. So when this all cycles out, I think these two are going to be very close to each other on track, and we might have this battle heating right back up, Josh.
Yeah, you are correct. And Jonathan Delaney, Chad Edwards, Mason Lowry, and Preston McRae all followed Adam Benefield into pit road this time, so we're going to see where this is going to bring him out, too.
A little surprised we didn't see anybody go for a 2-stop strategy. I mean, it's a bit of a risk, and obviously I'm not sure you would be able to make up that much time. But if you're somebody like, let's say, Cody Bird, who, he had some unfortunate strategy blunders earlier in the race, maybe doesn't have as much to lose, why not throw the wrench at the wall? Why not try something and try that 2-stop strategy? But it seems like everybody kind of conferred that, yeah, 1-stop strategy is the way to go. And as I say that, here comes Bryson Hixenbaugh. He is around the 83, and he's going to cycle out about a second ahead of Adam Benefield.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I was watching the 63. It was close, but the 83 just about a half a second, 2 seconds too long on pit road. Yeah, that's a big time gap, but still, every little second counts here, You get in there, you get a faster, a 1 second, 2 second stop faster than what you normally get. You get back out on the track, a second and a half faster than what you normally do. I mean, he might have had a little bit more of a chance. He couldn't have hopped up in front of the 63. 63 had just too much momentum, so unfortunate turn of events for Adam. But he's only a second down from Bryson, so I think he's going to pick up the pace here soon. Maybe, like you said, this battle's going to be right back to it.
Bryson Hixenbaugh getting on the apron a little bit there. You saw the left side tires go over that white line. A little bit of dust kicked up from the apron, and he kind of slid up the track, so I'm sure that cost him a little bit of time. And while Adam Benefield might have cycled out behind Bryson Hixenbaugh, I definitely don't think his story is over. I think he's probably going to close this gap up. We saw how strong these Team Conti cars are, And once Benefield got the lead, I mean, that was all she wrote. Nobody had anything for him. That car is a monster in clean air, and it's not that bad in dirty air either. I mean, he is keeping pace with Bryson Nixonball. Last time around for the 63, it was a 39.970. And for Adam Benefield, 39.904. So 0.07 of a second quicker. Not much, but Benefield is quicker last time around.
Yeah, Adam Benefield, like I said, he was about a second down when he came out of pit road. Now he's only about a half a second down almost. So he's getting there. He's starting to slowly chip away on Bryson Nixonball.
There goes Kevin Steele making his way out of his pit stall. So one of the later takers to make their way down pit road. And of course, the leaders right now working their way around Damaris Hickenbottom. A little bit of lap traffic. He's going to give them their lane. And I tell you what, man, that 83 is on the move. It was a 39.8 last time around for Benefield and a 40 flat for Bryson. So 0.2 of a second faster last time around. This time, I think it's going to be even more of a difference. Let's see as they cross the line. The 63, it's a 40.1. And for Benefield, it's another 39.8. So 0.3 of a second closer now than he was last time around. That 83 is closing the gap. Man, if he gets to him, that's going to be a fireworks show.
Yeah, he's going to have to pass him fast, though, because he is definitely putting a lot of wear on this car as much as he's getting on it. But he is showing some pace. That is fast lap times for a race trim. So the 83 is definitely going to get to the 63 here soon. Setting laps like that. It's going to be a show. I'm getting ready, man. This is about to be awesome. Adam Benefield is definitely cranking it up inside that car and putting the pressure on the 63 here.
When you're in race trim, anything underneath a 42nd lap is wildly impressive. And Benefield turned 2 of them in a row. That gap is pretty much gone. He is right there with the 63. Of course, the closer he gets, the more the aero is going to affect him. But here's the flip side to the strategy that the 83 pulled. Bryson Nixonball might have come back to pit road 1 lap sooner, and he might have had 1 lap fresher tires for 1 lap. But now that just means the 83 has the advantage. He came in 1 lap later, so now he's got 1 lap fresher tires, and he's going to be able to use that ever so slight advantage to try to catch up to the 63, and he has. I mean, this battle is heating up. He is using that slipstream. You can see every time they make their way down the tri-oval or down the backstretch, he's just in that slipstream, closing the gap. Hickenbottom is really sending it through the center of the corner. You can see he extends the gap in the center, and then coming out of the corner, that is where the 83 closes it right back up. And I think the reason Bryson's sending it in so deep is he's trying to prevent a lunge from that 83. He doesn't want him to outbrake him to get to the bottom or to try to rocket around the top. He's just trying to make sure that he keeps him out of attacking distance. And so far, it's worked, but I don't know how long he can keep this up.
Yeah, it looks like Adam's attack is starting to come to a halt a little bit. He's starting to fall off that pace that he was starting to set. And not that he's fallen back any more than what he was a lap ago, but he's not attacking as fast. Like we said, once these cars get up around another car and into dirty air, it's really hard to pass. I mean, these cars are so sensitive. The aerodynamics on them require so much air, and when you get up around these cars, it really shuffles that air around. That pocket of air becomes like a pocket of wind coming at your car that's just wanting to throw you everywhere. You have to think of it that way. So, I mean, it's very unpredictable when you get around these cars. And we were talking about earlier that when you get into a different session, as we had the red flag earlier, I mean, from one session your car feels one way, and the next session it can feel a little bit different. And the 83 tweaked his setup coming back into this, and it seems to be working for him because he's about to close that door on Bryson Nixonball. This is the closest he's been since the green flag incidents.
Yeah, he's just closing that gap little by little, and I think right now it's just a matter of one, playing it smart and making sure that he does not burn up his equipment trying to make this pass, and secondly, waiting for the proper opportunity to present itself. Is right now.
Whoa! What was that? That was a big move. That could have been bad. 63 was holding the low lane, cutting the draft off, and then he cuts to the high part of the track. I thought Adam was going to go for that outside lane, but the 63 just shut the door on. That was a Joey Logano style block right there from the 63.
That was a desperate maneuver by that 63. I'm not sure how both those drivers got out of there in one piece, but they did. They gathered it up, and now the battle resumes. The question is, how much is Bryson Nixonball using up his equipment playing this defense? I'd mentioned how deep he's driving it into the corner, and I'm sure you can see it too, Josh, but every time he gets to the middle, he's driving it in so deep that car starts sliding up the corner, and you know as well as I do, that's burning up his tires.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And the other question is how hesitation is Adam Benefield get in? Because see, he's really putting the pressure on now. He's going to go too wide here down the front stretch. It's going to be Bryson Hicksonbaugh and Adam Benefield. If this was for the race, it would have been Adam Benefield barely inching him out, but he's going to lead that lap as they're going to shoot it off here in a turn one. Is it going to be side by side, or is Adam Benefield just going to chalk it up easy? Looks like he's just going to chalk it up easy as Bryson Hicksonbaugh is going to fall back in line. Does he make another charge right here on the back stretch to try to get it back here in turn three, or does he just hang out? Seems like he's going to try to get that charge down the backstretch, but as you see, Adam, he's all the way down the track. He's moving around. He's trying to break up that draft, and he's really throwing it into threes. The 63, really hard drive into turn three, as they drive it through 4 right now, and looks like Adam's going to hold that lead as they're pulling up on lapped cars here. That could throw a little bit of a wrench in this battle, but we'll see how it turns out.
Lap traffic could make a bit of a difference here. I think with how far separated this traffic is and how smart these drivers are, I'm sure these guys are not going to hold him up too much. There goes Cody Bird up to the top line. He's going to let him go, no problem, and I would expect the same from the next car ahead. So I think these guys are going to be able to continue their battle, but I call it a battle, but right now, man, that 83 is starting to pull away. That Team Conti car is fast, and I think now that he's got clean air, it's only going to get faster.
Yeah, Bryson Hicksonbaugh was looking to sweep this race. He won stage 1 and stage 2. Now it's looks like he's trying to find an answer because that 83 car, ever since we got back from our red flag restart, has seemed to just be on rails. That thing is hooked up. Whatever adjustments they made, they definitely made the right adjustments because the 83 is just, he's in another league right now.
I would definitely agree. And, he's not the only Team Conti car that is showing some incredible pace, though he is leading the race. I'm looking right now at the number 1 of Dustin Hall, who's made his way back up into 5th. A few laps ago, he made a really good pass on the number 21, Bryce Hoffman, and ever since then, he's been pulling away ever so slowly, closing the gap to 4th place John Delaney, who's actually now 3rd place because John Delaney just made an overtake on Cameron Stone. Cameron Stone maybe getting back to the bottom to try a crossover, but yeah, all of the Team Conti cars showing a lot of speed, but none quite as fast as Adam Benefield.
And yeah, as seeing the 57 of Cameron Stone is taking an outside battle here with the 9 of Jonathan Delaney. So right here in the 4th and 3rd position, we've got a little bit of a battle going on. So it's not only the leaders trying to get position out here. We've got a couple of hundred guys behind them that are still trying to get as many positions as they can get.
And man, that gap between Bryson Hicksonbaugh and Adam Benefield, it's fluctuating a lot. I've been looking at the lap times, and it seems like last time around, Bryson Hicksonbaugh actually gained a little bit, and now this time looks like he's going to lose a little bit. So both these drivers, I think, just pushing their cars to the absolute limit, taking everything they got, and just driving on the edge, trying to take whatever the car is going to give them. And sometimes they're making bobbles, sometimes they're just hitting that line just right. A little bit of lap traffic there as Adam Benefield works his way around Dalton Mobley in that 77 car. 63 car maybe not going to get around him before they get to this corner, which could cost them some time.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would assume the 77 would pull high, and he did. The 63 actually got a decent little job, but it seems like he's starting to plow up the track, maybe having to get out of it a little bit. 83 as well, going up the track hard, but 63 wobbled a little bit. But seems like they gathered it back up. So they're for sure driving hard because you can tell by the way these cars are just flying and sliding up the track. It looks like every time they're going to get to the wall, and they're driving at the limits right now. I mean, these guys are definitely wanting to win the race. The 83 and the 63 both. They both want to see themselves in victory lane right now. You can tell just by the way they're arcing these things off into the corners and making a stick.
And it is go time. I mean, we're on lap 115 out of 140 of this second session that has been created. And there's not much racing left. I mean, you got to think. We're getting towards the end of this thing. Cars are probably starting to kind of fade, and I'm sure the drivers are starting to get a little bit worn out and tired as this goes on. So it's kind of going to be a push to the finish here. I don't think we can really expect any yellow flag breaks or cautions for these guys to kind of take a minute and breathe, because so far, no cautions for cause. Everything has been stage cautions or due to the disconnects and all of that. So these guys are probably expecting this thing to stay green till the end, and they're going to have to push these things all the way to lap 140. And for Bryson Hicksonbaugh, I think these laps are going to pass by in a flash because he is tunnel vision. He is looking at that 83. He is doing everything he can to try to close that gap, and he's not paying attention to the lap counter. He's probably thinking, man, we're already on lap 116.
Oh yeah, when you're fighting these battles definitely go by really quick, or make the laps go by really quick. 1 second you're thinking, oh yeah, I'm good. I just gotta chill back here, cruise a couple laps. You look down, there's 4 to go, and you're oh crap, you got to get up on that wheel and get to going. But Bryson Nixon seems to be just kind of hanging out right now. That gap, like you said, it hasn't really been too big, but it's starting to look a little bit bigger every couple laps. But I'm not going to count Bryson out of this race. Adam and Bryson have definitely shown that they are the class of the field today, and I would be surprised if one of them two didn't win it. But hey, this is stock car racing. Anything can happen. As you see, the number 7 right there, and the 24 of Kevin Steele, they've got a big battle going here. That is for the 9th place position. Kevin Steele's been hanging around that position, but it seems like he's got the drive out of 4, and he's going to clear the number 7 Blaine Grassi.
He got clear of him and definitely just kind of charged on forward. Kevin Steele making a bit of a late race charge. Seems like his car is really starting to come to life. And just an update on Matthew Gaskins. I mentioned earlier that he was on pit road. I thought he might be done for the day. He is back on the track. He is roughly 24 laps down, I believe. Don't quote me on that. He's 17 laps down, I'm sorry. But he is back on track, and he's trying to get this thing to the end. Damage seems to be holding him back a little bit, but that's just your update on that number 79 machine. In the meantime, as Adam Benefield continues to pull away ever so slightly from Bryson Nixon, about a 1/10 of a second faster now per lap, that 83 machine is. So he's pulling away, and as we continue to look at Kevin Steele, he's marching his way up. The lap times for Kevin Steele are kind of impressive for me, at least. He's ran a 41.64 last time around, which compare that to Bryson Hicksonbaugh running a 41.5. Only running a 10th off the leaders at this stage in the race. That's not doing too bad for yourself. And I think as the leaders' cars start to fade away and the tires start to wear, Kevin might have a little bit extra in the tank.
Yeah, and as we come to 20 to go, it's going to still be Adam Benefield and Bryson Hicksonbaugh, the two guys that have shown that they've got the pace to both win this race, but it can only be one, as we know that. They're going to still be out in the lead. P3 is going to be to Jonathan Delaney, and P4 and 5 is Cameron Stone and Dustin Hall. P6, Bryce Hoffman with Chad Edwards and P7. P8 is Kevin Steele with P9, Wayne Grassi. And to round off the top 10, we have Mason Lowry in that 56 Toyota. So, yeah, the top field is the top 10 is been almost about the same guys almost all race. They've been able to stick their nose up here and kind of run that position. So hopefully we get a little bit more of a battle here towards the end, as we're starting to see Bryson, like I said, slowly every lap fall off of that pace of Adam. But you never know. Like I said, this is stock car racing. Anything can happen.
Anything indeed, and just a lot of separation, as we've noticed, and a lot of lap traffic that these guys are trying to navigate. I would say that's the main thing that they're focused on, and the main obstacle that they have to deal with right now is I'm watching the number 1 of Dustin Hall. He's making his way around Dan Fields. He is running lap times definitely on par with the leaders. 41.7 for Dustin Hall last time around, but such a big gap that I think a lot of these guys are just hoping that there's going to be a yellow flag, that they can maybe pit for tires towards the end of this thing and just make one late race run at it. But thus far, it's clear and green, and everybody's just kind of running their race, trying to get this thing to the end.
Yeah, that's for sure what I would be doing. After all the delays, after everything's happened, I'm probably just got my head down, and I'm just digging, trying to get as many laps as I can done, because if I'm in that race car, I'm for sure probably thinking about sleep, food, or sleep.
Agreed. And right now, one thing I'm noticing is that 83 machine, Adam Benefield, it's coming to life. And at the same time, Bryson Hicksonbaugh is fading. 41.8 last time for Bryson. And for your leader, Adam Benefield, it was a 41.5. 0.3 of a second faster for your leader. That car is a rocket ship. For how old those tires are, the fact that he was able to run a 41.5 at this stage in the run is just absolutely incredible. Those team Conti machines are on fire right now.
Yeah, and to put that into context, he is on about 24 lap old tires. They pitted around lap 99, so he's about on 25, 26 lap old tires almost, and he's still setting pretty decent lap times. The 41.6 isn't bad around auto club, rolling tires.
Absolutely, and still outpacing everybody that is behind him. Bryson Ixbah was a tenth of a second slower that time. Well, no, I say outpacing everybody, but Jonathan Delaney was actually 2/10 faster than your leader last time around. He ran a 41.4. So that 9 car, again, late in the run, we saw in stage 2, Jonathan Delaney was able to somehow sneak his way up into third. As a comparison between Delaney and Benefiel, you can see just ticking off those tenths of a second, little by little. Obviously, running out of time. We're at 16 to go. If he wants to catch the leader, he's probably going to need a yellow flag or something to kind of close the gap there. But I mean, still, he is outpacing the leader right now. That number 9 car just absolutely dialed in at the moment.
Yeah, Adam Benefield is slowly starting to pull away, and Bryson Hixenbaugh is hanging on, and as we're riding on board right now, that is the Daytona 500 winner last week. We said it a couple times, but hey, when you've won the 500, you're always going to be associated with that. That is the Daytona 500 winner, Kevin Steele, right there. So not bad. He's moved himself back up into P8. That's where he qualified originally for this race. So back up into P8 though. Good to see him making his way back up into the field slowly. Like you said, consistency pays off in these kind of point-scoring events. So he's definitely making consistency for the win Daytona. Now up into a top 8, maybe top 10 finish. If he can get up a little bit more of a pace here, he might be going for close to the top 6. So I mean, depending on how this race goes, it's a good run for Kevin Steele so far.
And I think he could make it happen. I mean, looking at his lap times, he was about 0.3 of a second faster last time around than Chad Edwards, who's ahead of him for 7th spot. And if he keeps closing in at that rate, not only is he going to get around Chad by the end of this thing, but he is also going to close in on Bryce Hoffman, who was actually 0.3 of a second slower last time. And that would put him all the way up into P6, which, man, that would be definitely a great run for Kevin Steele. Anytime you can finish better than where you qualified, I'd say you had a good day. And like I said before, man, you can win a championship on top 10s alone. Obviously, no driver wants to just get top 10s. Everybody wants to go out there and win it. But if you can't win it, you want to get as many points as you can. And that's exactly what Kevin Steele's doing right now. Maybe the setup just wasn't quite there to win it. But, man, he is making the most of the car he has. And he has put on a great performance all night long.
Yeah, and it is impressive, like you said, getting the most out of that car, because a lot of these guys, when they get into these late runs with the cars that, maybe that they're not as competitive in as they wanted to be, they start to fall off pace. They lose a little bit of motivation. They let it get into their head. They start thinking about it too much, and it kind of puts a damper on their day in a sense, and, really kills that momentum, kills that pace. But for Kevin Steele to really just be out here holding 8th place still, holding where he qualified, holding that pace, and not giving it up basically all races, is really showing that although that setup might not be the most competitive in the field, he's really doing all he can with it, and it shows that you might not have to have the fastest setup. Just as long as you're comfortable, you can still be competitive. And like, is he clearing a car? No, that was a lap car he cleared, excuse me.
He's going to go ahead and put Daniel Fields another lap down. And looks like the number 4 is also starting to come to life. We talked about how Kevin Steele was kind of closing the gap to that number 4. Well, that gap closed up to a point, and Chad Edwards started opening it up again. He started gaining a little bit of time on him. He was about 0.2 faster, actually 1.5 faster than Kevin Steele last time around. So Chad Edwards with some newfound inspiration, maybe, seeing that 24 car closing in, probably saw that in his mirror and said, oh, shoot, it's go time. And he started to improve those lap times a little bit, but right now, the show is pretty much the Adam Benefield show. He is still in the lead with just 10.5 laps remaining, and he has just continued to pull away from Bryson Ixbah. The gap now absolutely massive, 2.5 seconds, which doesn't seem like much, but at a track where you're going nearly 200 miles an hour into the corner, 2.5 seconds is quite a bit of track position. So as Adam Benefield rounds his way out of turn 4, just now is Bryson Ixbah going to make his way out. So a huge gap between them. And honestly, with the amount of time left, as long as it stays green, as long as Adam Benefield doesn't make any mistakes, I think this is his race to lose so far.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you there on draft. I feel like Adam has definitely got the car to beat today, and it is his race to lose. So as long as he doesn't make any fumbles right here, I see that 83 in victory lane.
It's impressive to me too because he has no reason to push right now. You know, he's got the lead. He's got a comfortable lead at that. You'd think he'd just be riding around taking it easy, but no, 41.5 last time around. Bryce Nixonbaugh in second place ran a 41.7, bordering on a 41.8. So still, despite the fact that Adam Benefield has the lead, he's still absolutely getting a bunch of speed out of that car, and he is not leaving anything on the table.
Yes, you would be correct. So Adam is, definitely pushing that race car. As Bryson's starting to, get his lap times down a little bit. He's also seems to be trying to pick up the pace as much as he can. Like you said, that 3-second gap almost at a track like a track like this at Auto Club, it's really hard because if you're not in that little bit of draft, if you're not holding on to that lead car space, you start to fall back, and it's weird how it works. The cars are traveling at the same speed, but for some reason you seem to just fall off that pace if you don't hit a turn one time the right way. I mean, you can almost consider your run killed sometimes, trying to get up there to the lead, because you see what happens. Bryson was our car all day, and then Adam gets a little bit of a late run fill. They get the red flag. He gets a little bit of adjustments on his setup while they're under the red flag, and after the red flag, and he comes back out here. And, I mean, they've just been bad fast ever since. So, like you said, if Adam Benefield doesn't do anything crucial here to his car, he's going to be in victory lane in the next 6 laps.
Yeah, on your screen, just briefly, there was the battle between Kevin Steele and Chad Edwards. These two have found each other on the track. I thought for a minute the number 4 might pull away. He had faster lap times a couple times around. Kevin Steele said, not today. He absolutely got on the loud pedal. He has closed that gap, and I'd say he is well within striking distance. If that 4 car makes any mistakes, any bobbles at all, he's going to be able to capitalize on it and move up into P7. So a little bit of a battle going on right there as the leaders have a lot of separation. That is not a luxury that Chad Edwards can claim. He is under fire for sure from Kevin Steele.
Yeah, I bet Kevin Steele is definitely thinking, man, I want to get that one more position. Just let me finish. Like you said, if you get one position up, that's a win on your qualifying, especially on how well you qualify. So if Kevin Steele can even get to that 7th position right now, not only does that feel like a win for him and a little bit more confidence because of, some of the adversity he's faced in this race, but also it's a better points finish and it carries more momentum going into next week because he did win the 500, and so he's definitely hunting for every point he can get now. So when you get a first win on the season, you're definitely already thinking, well, if I wasn't thinking about chasing for a championship, now I am.
Absolutely, and the more points you gather up this early in the season, you got to think there were some drivers that are running up front today that had not so good luck at Daytona. They wrecked out and they finished a little bit further back than you'd normally see them. Meanwhile, Kevin Steele won that race. So just in the second race of the season, he's already got a leg up on the competition in terms of points. He's locked himself into the playoffs so far right now for at least a few more laps. He is the only driver locked into the playoffs, although I think it's looking like Benefield is going to join that club. So he's got a bit of a leg up on the points, and really it's been a comfortable start to the season for Kevin Steele. And this is the kind of momentum that you take that wave and you ride it all throughout the season. When you have a start this good, it's kind of like a mental thing. It doesn't affect how your car handles. It doesn't affect, how you drive the car. But the more positive you are, the more excited you are to get in that car every weekend, the better you're going to do. The more motivated you are. So I think Kevin Steele is just absolutely knocking out of the park early in the season. And now, as the 4 car starts to drive away a little bit, I think Kevin Steele can still take solace in the fact that he's running top 10 pretty comfortable right now.
And also want to point out right now that Jonathan Delaney, look at the gap between him and Bryson. It is almost to half a second. He's reeling it in. He's about 0.8 of a second off right now. He's getting there. Jonathan Delaney might catch P2, and it might be a battle here with these last 4 coming up. These last 2.
And that's a finish that I'm sure John Delaney would be ecstatic with. To get a P2, that's a good points day, and I think that it would kind of send a message saying, hey, I found these tracks out too. Everybody, like I said at the beginning of the broadcast, everybody looks at Jonathan Delaney as the road course guy and the plate track guy, but man, if he can get the trifecta and get intermediate tracks down as well, that's a force to be reckoned with, and it seems like he is definitely figuring something out as he closes this gap to the 63.
Yeah, indeed, he is closing the gap to the 63, and it's looking like it's going to be all Adam Benefield today as he started off the race. A little bit of struggle, but so far he is proven that after those red flag adjustments, he's coming back. As we are on lap 139 of lap 40 as Adam Benefield is going to be coming around turn 2 right now into the backstretch. And he's going to be grabbing the white flag this next time by. So in case a meteor doesn't land in the backstretch or somebody has just a freak accident on the racetrack, he's going to be grabbing this white flag and looking at his first win of the season. As we're see the 63 of Bryson Hixenbaugh and Jonathan Delaney starting to close that gap a little bit on him.
Just not enough time. He's going to take this white flag, and from there, the race is going to be official. Whether we get a caution, that'll end the race. If they make it to the checkered flag, of course, that ends the race. So now that Adam Benefield has taken this white flag, it is clear sailing for him. He doesn't even have to have a particularly good lap here. He could let off the throttle, coast through the corners, just take it real easy, and still the gap that he has to the cars behind is more than enough for him to ride to the victory here. So just a phenomenal run so far for Adam Benefield, and man, he's on his way through 3 and 4 to claim his first ever 100% Cup Series victory in absolutely dominating fashion.
So off of turn 4, we have Adam Benefield. Hoffman's in the wall. Is the caution going to be out? It doesn't look like it is, but it's going to be checkered flag. It's going to be Adam Benefield winning here at Auto Club. Is it going to be Bryson Hixenbaugh or Jonathan Delaney second? It looks like it is going to be Bryson Hixenbaugh. Jonathan Delaney is going to come third. Cameron Stone fourth. Dustin Hall in fifth. And we still got some guys crossing the flag, so I'm not going to call any more standings because I just don't want to be wrong. But hey, what a race from Adam Benefield, man, to come back from what he had. Bryson Hixenbaugh also, just a crazy good race. I mean, to set the pace on the first 2 stages, and then Adam Benefield just come in here and say, buddy, this is how you run this racetrack. That was a little bit of a bold statement from Adam Benefield in the race car today.
Absolutely. I'm sure he is just excited to get that victory, especially after the kind of bad luck that I had mentioned he had in the preseason with the preseason races, and even in Daytona 500 he had some unfortunate incidents go down there, but that's all in the past because today Adam Benefield is a winner at Auto Club, and he is going to burn that thing to the ground. Pretty soon we're going to get to have a word with him.
Just gonna say, at least he's not pulling a Ty Gibbs burnout.
Yeah, a little bit better than Ty Gibbs burnout.
There's the teammate Dustin Hall there to give him the stop and say, hey, stop doing those donuts. Let's just burn out together.
Team celebration for Team Conti. An absolute force, it would seem, in the league. Everybody expected great things out of Team Conti. Well, they have delivered fantastic results all around for that team and just put on a clinic today.
Indeed, they did. I mean, a 1-5 finish, hey, that's good. I'll take that any day if I'm a team owner. I for sure love to see one car in victory lane and another car in the top 5. It's always a good thing to see, but Adam Benefield, man, again, just a class drive by him, and we'll be getting the interviews with our top 3 here soon.
Adam Benefiel, you put on a clinic today. I kept saying throughout the broadcast, everybody was expecting great things from Team Conti, and I would say you more than delivered today with just astounding pace, especially in the long run where everybody else's pace was falling off, the tires were wearing away. You just kept those fast lap times clicking off one after another. And to get your first league victory in dominating fashion like that's got to feel pretty great. How are you feeling right now, man?
Tired. No, it feels great. To do this, to finally be able to break through and win, like, it's been tough, man. Like, honest to God, like I joined for a handful of races there at the end of the year and last year, and like it's dude, like it's stout competition, like with Bryson and Delaney and Cam, like they bring their game. So it was it's been tough, but I'm glad that we finally was able to break through and get the dub.
Absolutely. We talked a little bit about your bad luck preseason, and that's all in the past now because today you are a winner, and I would hope that you're going to take that momentum forward, and I can't wait to see what you do moving forward. Before we let you go, Adam, is there anybody you'd like to shout out or thank?
Yeah, I just everybody at Team Conti, especially Hastings and Dustin Hall. Dustin is actually the real MVP of tonight. We were doing some experimental work here to for Coke races, and it was lucky for us. It was unfortunate what happened, but it benefited us with the server. But we were able to, during that little downtime, go into and look at some telemetry and realize where some stuff was that we could make better, and was able to make a change in between the break, and Dustin just absolutely killed it with it tonight. So he's responsible for this set, and man, like he put a rocket under me, and he's the real MVP. But yeah, anyway, Team Conti, those guys, WR1 Sim Chassis, I appreciate them a lot, with all the support on the Coke side and with me. The guys here at 100 Racing League, for putting on such a great show. They're so laid back. It's the most fun league you could possibly get into. I absolutely love it over here. And you guys for broadcasting it and finally giving me a freaking interview.
I've been looking forward to it, man, definitely. And I'm glad to see you finally grab that win. And again, just congratulations.
Hell yeah, man. I appreciate it. And I finally kicked Bryson's butt, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, you did, brother. All right, man. Well, thank you for your time, and we'll let you go celebrate with your team.
All right, buddy.
All right, that was your race winner, Adam Benefiel. Tell you what, Josh, let's bring up our second place finisher, Bryson, and we'll let you have a word with him.
All right. Hey, Bryson, this is Josh in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got a copy.
Hey, buddy. Well, you started out great. You were the two-time stage winner coming into the third stage. So, unfortunate though, it seems like after that red flag, Adam Benefield was saying they got a little bit of adjustment on their setup coming under that red flag, and when they came back out, it just seemed like that car was on rails, man. But you seemed like you had the car to beat there in the first two stages. Was you fighting with a little bit of tire fall off? What was going on? What made you not be able to hang up there with them?
Yeah, well, I think they need to go through inspection a little bit tighter because it kind of looked like he had some nitrous in his car down the front straightaway. But yeah, they had such good straightaway speed that I couldn't do much with him when he got close to me. And I just, after that pit stop, I drove it so hard to stay in front of him that it just it killed my right front tire, and I went into that corner and going into 3, and it never turned in, and it just left lane on the bottom, and it was over from there. And after that, I was kind of fighting it. It was really tight on entry and then loose on exit. I just slide up the track the entire way, and I wasn't going to catch him doing that. So I did everything I could to keep it steady and hold on to second.
Well, yeah, that's good that you were able to put your head down and still focus on getting the job done and not get too tunnel vision. But Bryson, just keep your head down, man. Or keep your head up, excuse me. I was talking razor terms, but keep that up, man. You got a lot to build off tonight. 2-stage wins tonight. I mean, you really showed your hand. You've got a fast race car. You've had a fast race car these past 2 weeks, but this week you showed that you could have been a winner. But any shout-outs, man, you want to throw out there, anything?
Yeah, shout out to my teammates at Highside, Ryan and Cody, and then our partners over at Loudmouth Motorsports, Bryce Hoffman, Mason Lowry, Chad Edwards, and oh my God, why am I forgetting this?
Tim Brown.
Tim Brown. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, dude. But Tim and Bryce, they helped with the setup a little bit. They got a little bit more speed out of it. So thanks to them for working on that. And we put in a lot of effort this week, a lot of practice sessions to get this without the A Opens or NIS. So yeah, we did a lot of good work and feel good about it.
Well, yeah, for sure, man. We're excited to see what you got next week, Bryson. But a good run tonight to get P2. We for sure thought you were going to win it, but like we said again, don't go down with your head down. I mean, that was a good race, good finish, and you got a lot to build off of. We're excited to see what you got though for us next week.
Yeah, I'll get some this year. Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you. All right, we're going to go ahead and pull in John Delaney, and that'll be it for our interviews. So you want to go ahead and take that away, Andre?
Yes, sir. Jonathan Delaney, you got a copy?
Yes, I do, guys.
Well, John, you brought it home, P3. Definitely nothing to be disappointed with. I mean, anytime you get a podium, it's a good points day, but I was really impressed with your long run speed. It seemed like every time the stage just progressed and the laps were ticking off, there were 2 cars in particular that never seemed to fall off as much as the other. One was the winner, Adam Benefield, and the other was you. Your car was flying in those long runs, and you actually almost closed the gap up to Bryson Nixonbaugh for second place. How'd you feel about this race? How was the car feeling all night long?
The car felt pretty good. Short run, I had nothing for Adam and Bryson. I was just way too loose. I try and explain this so as easy as possible for the viewers at home, but what Bryson and Adam had, they had their rear end was a little lower to the ground, so their spoiler wasn't as far up in the air. So they had a bit more straightaway speed, but because of that, they were a little bit slower on the long run. And mine was a bit higher, so I was definitely slower on the straights, but I definitely had the long run speed. But all night, the car felt pretty good. It was maybe a little tight on entry every now and then, and it get loose every so often off of 4. But I felt like I definitely had a really good long run car, as you said. When those last few closing laps, I thought I probably could have gotten Bryson, but you get in like a bubble between someone, like it's around a second or so, and when you get in that bubble between a car, it just tightens your car up and just does weird things to it. You can try all the hardest, just trying to get to that person, but you never can because the dirty air is so bad. But yeah, P3. I'm not too mad about that. I felt like we probably could have gotten a little bit better, but I'll take it.
That's the racer way. You could have the best finish in the world and think, man, could have done a little bit better. But it was a great run nonetheless, and I'm looking forward to you carrying that momentum forward and seeing what you got next week. Before we let you go, John, is there any shout-outs you'd like to make?
Of course. Everyone at Apex and DGR, Brandon, Cam Stone, he was a big help this week with the set. Same thing with Brandon. We all put in the laps this week. Me and Cam finishing 3rd and 4th, so that's always good. But yeah, we put in a lot of laps this week. I'm glad it worked out. Mom and Dad, shout out to them. I think my aunt's watching, so shout out to her. And then outside of this league, for my official racing, we're Flying Arrows, so shout out to them. I'd like to thank you guys for broadcasting. The admin team, Kevin Steele and Damaris Hickenbottom, pretty unfortunate events to start this race, but they did it perfectly. they worked through that really, really, really good. So yeah, big shout out to those guys, and that's all I got.
All right. Well, again, congratulations on your podium, and thanks for your time, John.
Yes.
That was the third place finisher, Jonathan Delaney, and with that, coverage is going to come to a close, if I could speak properly. It's been a long night, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a long night. Josh, do you have any closing thoughts about this race?
Oh, for sure. It was a good race. Definitely did not expect to see the shakeup there with Adam Benefield getting past Bryson Hickson on that late run. But it just shows that when you get under a red flag, these teams, they get to tweaking on those setups when they've got the time. They can produce way faster race cars. You thought Bryson Hickson was on rails, but then Adam Benefield comes out and, man, that was just a fast race car for the 83, and just a good race overall for all of our top three. I mean, it was an awesome race for all of them. Adam Benefield to come back from the adversity. Really excited to see what these guys have in store for next week. It's gonna be a fun battle here.
Absolutely, I agree. As you can see, the end results up on your screen. That is your complete finishing order from top to bottom. Adam Benefield, Bryson Nixon Baugh, Jonathan Delaney, Cameron Stone, Dustin Hall, Chad Edwards, Kevin Steele, Wayne Grassy, Mason Lowry, Bryce Hoffman, Preston McRae, Tim Rail, Brandon Pierce, Cody Bird, Brian Branham, Damaris Hickenbottom, Daniel Fields, and rounding out your top 18, it's going to be Ryan McDaniel. That is pretty much going to be the coverage of the Auto Club race for the 100% Cup Series. Thank all of you for tuning in, despite all of our red flag delays and issues that we underwent, but we got through it, and hopefully we put on a show for you guys from all of us here at 100% Cup Series. For Carlos Acosta with 3Y TV, for Josh Kiwis at SRM, good night, everybody.